And they doing something here that many of these so-called men of God are doing today. So we're going to read what they're doing and reason our mind, is it possible that those who do this, that we're about to read, can honestly be ministers of the Most High? Verse 26.
And her priests have violated my law and have profaned my holy things. They have put no difference between the holy and profane. Neither have they showed difference between the unclean and the clean, and have hid their eyes from my Shabbats, and I am profane among them.
Man, what that sound like what we just read?
Christianity.
Dang.
Sunday worship.
This is the foundation of Christianity we just read prophetically.
And it sounds like they be trying to coexist with everything around them. Like,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the crazy part about that, is that there are, I'm not even going to put a number to how many different denominations of Christianity there are. And then each denomination has their own brand of theology.
Delusion.
Huh?
And delusion.
Right. Y'all know what theology means, right? It's the study of theory. Huh? But no, they try to go into, theos being God or whatever. No, but that's not what it is. It's just like what the name implies, the theoryology, okay? But out of all the different theories, doctrines that they have among them, as many as it is of them, ain't it crazy that they all agree on this one thing right here? They all agree on it. They stand together in collusion. We use the term, thanks to the NBA, collusion. But it's a conspiracy. Because the people don't know no better. But they walk in the church and the first thing they hear is like, hey, you don't have to keep the Sabbath no more. And you can eat whatever you want to eat. Ain't no such thing as clean and unclean. They all agree on that.
and to bring up the word conspiracy, the word conspiracy by definition means an organization colluding, as you mentioned,
Right.
to commit what they consider a unlawful act,
Right.
or unlawful deed.
And it's hidden.
Yes, it's hidden.
That's the foundation of conspiracy, the hidden part. Stuff that we ain't supposed. If you don't study, you don't know. You don't know. So hey, they say this is a man of God, and I come to church to hear the man of God. So who am I to question that? You're nobody because you have not read to be able to judge righteously to know if that is somebody that's standing in the gap. But this is what their foundation is right here. And the Most High is saying some very horrible things about them. Go ahead.
27. Her princes in the midst thereof are like wolves ravening the prey, to shed blood and to destroy souls to get this honest gain.
Now, I don't know how significant this is, but in these 3 verses we read, he said prophets, he said priests, and he said princes. Right? These are 3 P's of the church. But they're different roles, but they all agree on this same dynamic, okay? Go ahead.
28. Her Navim have daubed them with untempered mortar, seeing vanity and divining lies unto them, saying, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, when Yahuwah have not spoken.
Hey, what? We don't know no better. So as the man said, y'all spoke to him. Who are we to argue with that? That's what it is.
That's when your discernment has to come into play.
Right, got to. You know, the curse is the man that put his trust in princes. Absolutely, that's what we do. We join that. That goes for Hebrew Israelites too.
No cap.
Now,
Huh?
Now, would it be a reach to say that's a violation of the First Commandment? To put no gods before me?
The violation of the First Amendment. Wait a minute, this cut you said First Amendment is freedom of speech, which is a little bit contrary to our Constitution, because we can't say anything we want to say.
Facts.
we have to give an account of everything that comes out of our mouth. But absolutely though, absolutely. Go ahead.
29. The people of the land have used oppression and exercised robbery, and have vexed the poor and needy. Yea, they have oppressed the stranger wrongfully. And
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Stop oppressing.
We're gonna put up a wall for, the Mexicans, they won't come.
Oh,
over
you
to
going
the
with
US.
that? Everybody else was thinking something different from what you were thinking, but that's good.
yeah, they cool too.
That's good. That's good. You want to bring Donald Trump into it? That's fine. Absolutely. What you thinking?
I'm just saying government, I ain't saying no.
You was thinking government too?
Oh
Oh
man.
man, oh man. Come on, AJ, what you thinking?
I don't know what y'all think. I'm thinking about the Super Bowl.
That's right.
Power Rangers.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Oppress the stranger wrongfully.
Okay.
They'll fit Esau.
That's right. Oppress the stranger wrongfully.
We gotta
Man.
keep our foot on their neck.
Kiss my boot.
Which there's nothing new under the sun, as it is at that time, as it is.
Yeah, been going on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they completely misinterpreted Revelations, I think, 2 and 9.
Oh,
Where it says that.
but see, 2 and 9 was talking about a specific people.
Yeah.
It wasn't even talking about just all of Israel. It's talking about the ones who overcame what the prophetic Jezebel was talking about in the doctrine of Balaam and Balak, like what verse 14 and 15 said.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. All right, go ahead.
30.
30, and I sought for a man among them that shall make up the hedge and stand in the gap before me for the land, that I should not destroy it, but I found none.
I want y'all to say loud on that one right there, y'all, because this is our heritage he's talking about. He's talking about a time where, see, this is when you can really feel that lift up your voice and cry, as it says in Isaiah 58, because we're in our land, and ain't nobody teaching about the Sabbath and about, clean and unclean and righteousness as far as how we need to deal with the poor and needy and the stranger. There was a time when that was going on in our land, and we was kicked out of our land because of the mindset of what we followed, as he's talking about here. He said he sought for a man. Dang. The father sought for 5 in Sodom, 5 in Sodom. He sought for 1 in Israel. None of our forefathers could testify righteousness so that the Father could bring peace to the land. That's sad, man. But we want to be Israel, we think it's such a great, glorious thing to be Hebrew, but history says contrary. I saw for a man among them that should make up the head and stand in the gap. Kind of remind me, we read the other day about King Jehoshaphat and King Ahab, and about them going against Ramoth Gilead, and all them 400 false prophets talking about go. But then the one brother, Micaiah, I think that's what his name was, he's like, man, King Ahab, like, this dude hate me. And then the guard that went and got him said, look, now this is what the 400 said. You got to speak right along what they said. And he said, hey, I ain't going to speak nothing but thus says Yah. But then we stepped into the room and saw all the people and saw the 2 kings sitting on their throne. He changed up just that quick. Hey, go on up and prosper. Go ahead and do that thing. King rebuked them, but the reason why I'm bringing that up is because you may have had some that was there that knew better, but they were scared to sound the alarm, speak up, because their lives were in danger. Just like Micaiah, his life was in danger. We read it and thought, oh, Micaiah could have, why he do that, whatever, but his life was in danger. King rebuked him and said, didn't I tell you to say what thus says Yah? And when he said what thus says Yah, they put him in jail. Bread of affliction, water of affliction. Who wants that? But that's what the righteous prophet had to go through. And so right here, you just imagine, wrap your mind around what was going on. He said, Father sought for a man among them that should make up the head and stand in the gap. That is what the truth is all about, especially in this day and age, y'all. Can't go with the flow.
No, no, no.
Cannot go with the flow and think that the Father is with that. You have to be contrary to the mainstream.
Or go with your feelings.
Right, exactly.
Ew.
Yeah, because feelings will betray you each and every time.
That's right. Jeremiah 17:9.
What did it say?
Say the heart is deceitful above all things.
Mm-hmm.
Or desperately wicked. Who can know it?
That's right.
To love the world is to hate Yah.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
See, some of us think that how we made it feel, that's the Holy Spirit.
It's some spirit though.
Huh?
It's some
It
spirit.
is. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's absolutely a spirit. And just like you said earlier, concerning the super brews, just like what Andrea said, ain't nothing new in the sun. The same spirit that dealt with our forefathers is dealing with us right now today. The same spirit.
Ooh-wee.
Straight up the same spirit.
Just like that kid getting shot in the head.
Huh?
Just like the kid getting shot.
Yeah, oh, that's on a whole nother thing right there.
If you skip back 2 chapters in this Ezekiel,
Uh-oh. Let's do that.
if we just read verse 18,
And what was chapter?
Ezekiel 20, chapter 20.
Chapter 20, verse 18.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually gonna read this too.
Actually, if I start at verse 4, I just want to highlight, say, without judge them, son of man, without judge them, cause them to know the abominations of their fathers.
Uh-huh.
So these same spirit been dealing with our fathers, and we got to
Yeah.
recognize them for real, for real.
Yeah, we're gonna read this. We're gonna read a lot of this.
Wait, for real, that chapter 20?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, because I definitely, hold on,
Mhm.
but you, okay, babe, if you're going to read it, let's go back to 22 then.
Okay.
Yeah, no cap.
No, but that was
Now, I
important
saw
for you.
something at 18 that really stood
Yeah,
out.
yeah, that 18. But I said unto their children in the wilderness, walk you not in the statutes of your father, neither observe their
That's
judgment, nor
what
defile
scandal of
yourselves.
shame. That's what Mama used to say.
Yeah.
Walk not in the statutes of your father.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you want to get that last verse of 22 real quick?
In 22.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we just
I
got
thought
to
you
finish
read
that out.
Okay, go ahead.
As Ezekiel 22, verse 31. Therefore have I poured out my indignation upon them. I have consumed them with the fire of my wrath. Their own way have I recompensed upon their heads, saith Yahuwah
Ain't
Elohim.
that something? So again, just like I was saying, the same spirits that dealt with our forefathers, the same spirit that's dealing with us today. Same demons, man. How else can you be an Israelite congregation and refuse to even take an account of our situation and try to blame a whole nother fleshly entity for your situation and not blame yourself? And then you put a whole lot of other stuff connected with your situation to justify your not adhering to the words of the Most High Yah. That's the spirit that causes you to do that.
Uh-huh.
Hey, but what I'm realizing though, I feel like it's still that the Most High will gonna be done because they probably gonna bring on judgment that prophesied that we're gonna be afflicted.
Uh-huh.
Cause a lot of people hate us because certain camps like they look at it a certain way. So if you say, oh, they identify you with friends or anything, they gonna think the same spirit on you.
Right.
They gonna be lifted up to be afflicted. That's part of the Most
I
High
think
will.
that's why verse 31 said what it said. Their own way have I recompensed upon their heads, saith Yahuwah. So everything we doing, like, if you go to Ezekiel 20, say the same thing. I gave them judgment that went good for them. Like, basically, everything we wanted to do, he give us over to it. He give us over to that spirit, and then that spirit consume us. But,
He said he'll give you the desires of your heart.
right, no cap. And if we read 20, that definitely gonna say that. I think that's scary how chapter 20 say that, though.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. So moving right along, let's go into Acts the 13th chapter. Y'all know this is one of my favorite ones, man.
Oh, yeah. Gotta see the example.
Yeah. Yep, Acts 13 chapter, y'all. This is the example. That's what you just said, right?
Yeah.
Yep, of the quote-unquote New Testament church or assembly. Acts,
13.
huh?
13.
Yep, Acts the 13th chapter, and I want to pick it up. Let's see. I'm gonna go directly to the port. Pick it up at verse 41. Well, before you even read that, let me see. Let's see where they was at first.
I was
Pick
gonna
it up
say,
at
establish
verse.
a timeline.
Yeah, absolutely. Verse 13.
At 13 and 13, now when Saul of Tarsus and his company loosed from Paphos, they came to Persia and Pamphylia. And Johanan, departing from them, returned to Jerusalem.
That's why I identified them 3 P's in Ezekiel. There go 3 P's right here in this
Look at
one
that.
verse.
Crazy.
I know, that's crazy. Go ahead.
14, but when they departed from Persia, they came to Antioch and Pisidia, and went into the synagogue on the Shabbat day and sat down. And after the reading of the law and the prophets, the rulers of the synagogue sent unto them, saying, You men and brethren, if you have any word of exhortation for the people, speak on it.
Y'all know how deep these 2 verses we just read are? These previous 2 verses? Somebody tell me something about how deep these 2 verses is.
That's how your church is supposed to be ran today.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's establish one thing. This assembly of this synagogue, was it in Israel?
It's in Greece.
It's in Greece? Wow. That's J-Fact. There's assembly of Yah that's not in Israel. It's in here. I thought it was Asia, but he says Greece.
Antioch is a part of Greece, ain't it?
Okay.
Part of Greece.
Okay. Right, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, but they in Antioch right here, ain't it?
No, I think they left Antioch.
Oh, really?
So they came to Antioch and Pisidia.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Oh.
There we go. No, so I guess you're right then. But one thing for sure, if they ain't in Israel, that's for sure. And there's a country that's full of Gentiles, man, full of J-Fat. And they went in a synagogue on the Sabbath day and sat down. Now, chances are these brothers don't even know what particular doctrine is in this particular synagogue. And the truth of the matter is that they didn't even need to know. All they was concerned about was one thing, and they had to keep a holy convocation on Shabbat. And they wasn't even in their own land. They found a place that probably had them characters on the wall up there. They like, oh, this is a place to be right here.
My
Yeah.
thing is, look how profound it is. They're the Shabbat.
Uh-huh.
And they're in the synagogue.
Right.
In a whole nother country, a whole nother
That's
continent,
right.
a whole nother culture.
Right. Right. Form, you know, Tom didn't tell you how many times we done been in some place and I had to sit there and put all these crazy looks on my face, but I ain't said nothing. Hold that tongue.
If I hold my feet
That's right.
and let y'all fight my
There you
battle.
go. And that's what these brothers did. But see, the fact about it says that, and after reading of the law and the prophets, because if you're not reading out the law and the prophets, another word for law and prophets is scripture.
Oh, he's right outside of
Yeah.
Greece.
What we're reading right now is not scripture. I'm sorry.
It's a record.
It's a record
But where is
or a
Antioch?
testament.
Is it the same place?
In Luke, when we read this earlier, Luke the 24th chapter, Yeshua said, then he opened up their understanding of the scriptures. Scriptures. His words actually wasn't even scripture. Say, okay, this is what I'm teaching y'all. No. Scriptures is what the understanding have to be. Somebody said the New Testament explains the Old Testament. Don't ever believe that crap. No. Scriptures do not need anything to explain it. Scriptures explain the newer testaments. If somebody say something, if we read something in this, we have to put it on the scale and balance it with scriptures. Yahshua said the same exact thing. So the problem is that people don't know what scriptures is, and that's where we have a issue with today. But this is what they said. They said after the reading of the scriptures, the ruler of the synagogue sent unto them. Them people back there, I ain't never seen them before, don't know who they are. They came to visit us, hallelujah. And said to them saying, you read that, right? Mm-hmm. You men and brethren, if you have any word of exhortation for the people, say on. They don't know what's about to come out of these strangers' mouth. I call them strangers because they're strangers to the synagogue, right? But they shouldn't have been afraid of whatever these guys had to say, because their words are not scriptures. The reading of his word is scripture. So whatever they had to say have to line up with the scriptures. Simple as that. So why be afraid? Like, we all have these different doctrines, but scriptures answers all doctrines. It answers all doctrines. I stand up here and say something about the wildest thing ever. Y'all better say, man, Josiah, where you get that from?
Fact check.
Moray, where you get that from, man? I mean, you might be talking out of one of them strange spirits you was talking about before. Might be. But I have to definitely prove what come out of my mouth based off of scripture. And so everyone else that existed during this time of the New Testament, they had to do the exact same thing. The exact same thing. So that's what these leaders of the synagogue, they say, look, you got any words of exhortation for the people? Say on. So again, that's why we have open forum here. Because the Spirit of Yah does not start and end right here at the little circle right here. It's supposed to be whoever walked through that door, the Father deal with them according to the Spirit of Yah. Simple as that. Go ahead.
Verse 16. Then Paul stood up and beckoning with his hand said, Men of Israel, and ye that fear Elohim, give audience.
Right, that's two separate people. He said, men of Yashrael, because there's a lot of Israelites was here in this temple of Yah, and you that fear Elohim. You might not be an Israelite in the flesh, but you here. Mm-hmm. So you that fear Elohim, pay attention. Okay? We're not going to read what he was saying. He gave them a historical breakdown to try to show them who Yahshua was, okay? That's another lesson right there. But skip all the way down to verse 40. No, verse 38.
Verse 38, Acts 13. Be it known unto you, therefore, men and brother, that through this man is preached unto you the forgiveness of sins.
And now, you know what? And real quickly, this is what Yahshua represented. Because all men have sinned and come short of the glory of the Most High. He represented that lamb that represented forgiveness. So all this stuff that I've done, that you've done, that we all done, that brought us under sin, that's what he represented. The means to not only come up out that sin, but the means to be forgiven and the means to walk as servants of the Most High Yah. That's what he represented. Go ahead.
39, and by him all that believe are justified from all things, from which you could not be justified by the law of Shemaiah.
So somebody read this and they sound like he's denigrating the law of Shemaiah, but he was just saying that, hey, according to the law, when you committed certain sins, you died without mercy under 2 or 3 witnesses.
Right.
So when you're under that judgment, you can't be justified by the law. Only your blood is required of you. But through Yahshua, you can now escape that judgment that was put on you from your sin. So the blood, and see, and interestingly enough, understand that the atonement or the Day of Atonement that is of the law represented the same thing. So it's not like Yeshua had something that was not based off of the law. Wasn't that what the Day of Atonement was all about? So the only thing is that he was that perfect sacrifice. Okay? So that's what he's saying right here. Verse 40.
40. Beware therefore, lest that come upon you, which is spoken of in the prophets.
Uh-oh.
Behold, ye despisers, and wonder, and perish. For I work a work in your days, a work which you shall in no wise believe, though a man declare it unto you. And when the Yahudim were gone out of the synagogue, the Gentiles besought that these words might be preached to them the next Shabbat.
The first day.
The next Shabbat.
The Gentiles didn't say, oh, come on over to our church and teach us these things. We come together on the first day of the week. So that'll be tomorrow. I'm sure y'all probably got Sunday off. What dispensation happened from between then and now that can justify Gentiles saying, oh, we serve him our way?
Shoot, Marcion, Nicholas,
Nicolation.
Saul of Tarsus.
Right, but see what I'm saying? No, we know that all that was falsehood.
Right.
Because these Gentiles understood that, hey, if I'm going to get it, I'm going to have to go on the Shabbat to where these covenant people are and join myself to them.
Right.
That's just the way it is. I can't think to myself, you know what, I love KKK philosophy. I'm not going to join them, but I'm going to create my own branch of KKK.
That's right.
And I'm going to have little things, a little bit, just slightly different from what they do. You know.
But it's still the same thing, though.
Huh? Still the same thing. I ain't gonna show no respect to the three pillars of the KKK, but that's a whole other lesson right there.
Take that out of context, you got a problem.
Oh, yeah, you got a big problem on
Take that
your
out of
Right.
context.
Right.
Dang.
But where we at?
We at verse 41.
Yeah, we're 41.
Uh-huh. No, not 41. 43, I'm sorry, 43.
43. Now when the congregation was broken up, many of the Yahudim and religious proselytes followed Paul and Barnabas, who, speaking to them, persuaded them to continue in the grace of Elohim.
No, well, wait a minute now. Something don't sound right here. It said many of the congregation broke, many of the Yahudi and religious proselytes followed Paul and Barnabas, okay? Who speaking to them, persuaded them to continue in the grace of the Most High, right? Okay, I'm thinking there might have been some Gentiles among them because the Gentiles thought that, but he didn't teach them two different things though. He would have said to them the same thing, like, okay, y'all want next Shabbat, we'll be there next Shabbat. What you about to say?
Yeah, proselyte,
Alpha.
convert.
Right, converts, right, right,
You might not know what a proselyte is.
right.
Convert.
That's correct, correct. All right, go ahead.
44. On the next Shabbat, they came almost the whole city together to hear the word of Elohim. He brought the city out.
But what do y'all reckon the ratio of Hebrew to Gentiles was in that gathering?
Probably like just some black specks.
Yeah,
Right.
Let's say 1,001
1,001 on who end?
to the Gentile.
To the Gentiles. Okay. Okay.
1,001.
Okay. We were definitely outnumbered. Okay. We definitely was outnumbered. No, yeah, that's right. Gotta know that. Because if we said almost the whole city, we couldn't even consider it almost the whole city. Okay.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Right. So we were outnumbered in this gathering. Go ahead.
Well, brought the city out. 45. But when the Yahudim saw the multitudes, they were filled with envy and spake against those things which were spoken by Paul, contradicting and blaspheming.
Right.
Then Saul and Barnabas waxed bold and said, it was necessary that the word of Elohim should first have been spoken to you. But seeing you put it from you and judge yourselves unworthy of everlasting life, lo, we turn to the Gentiles.
And they made it sound like it was a decision that they made. And, you know, for people that don't understand, it was not a decision that they made. Okay? And matter of fact, he's about to quote the passage that would justify what happened.
What you saying? They probably didn't know that they were finna bring the city out, like, in that season? Like, it just popped up on them because that's what they wanted them to come back Shabbat? I don't know.
Well, I mean, the way that Paul is, the way he's quoted is saying that he's almost, it sounded almost like it was like their man-made decision. Like, y'all wicked, and so because of y'all wickedness, we're gonna go to the Gentiles. See, that didn't sound like it was like, it didn't sound like it was something that the Father called them to do.
Oh,
It
yeah.
sounded like they just made the decision arbitrarily
Yeah.
to go to the Gentile, but that's not what it was, though. You know, sometimes when you upset with your own people, sometimes you will use statements like that just to show them how upset you are with them. But the truth of the matter is that the Father had already ordained for them to be a light to the
That's
Gentiles.
the thing. He's like y'all should have been on this. If y'all was on this, y'all would have been doing this.
Correct. Simple, just simple as that.
They know y'all game.
Simple as that. Just like how we have to stand in the gap for what the super brews are out here doing. You know? Can y'all imagine, and this is sad, how many people they done messed up both Gentiles and Hebrews?
Oh, definitely.
Huh? That's a dangerous dynamic right there.
Oh yeah.
That's why after last night, I'm starting to think like they're agents of chaos.
Oh yeah, oh man, that's old school right there. I'm gonna tell you that that's exactly what that is.
Hey,
You know,
did you see Nathaniel on that horse?
Yeah, yeah. But they passed over.
Yeah.
Yo,
He
five.
was on the horse, man. Bishop Nathaniel was on the horse.
and what happened with him on the horse?
I'm just saying.
And that's how they went into the coronation of they passed
Oh,
over.
they had a coronation.
He had,
Every year.
he had two Gentiles holding the horse on the side.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
For real?
Yeah. I ain't say that, anything.
No. I
The horse, the horse, to make sure that the horse don't take him off.
So
somewhere.
you for real, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I remember again, I tell the story all the time. I only tell it because he said what he said. But yeah, about 20 some odd years ago, when I was living in Atlanta, and we used to all Israelites on the Shabbat, we'd be down at 5 Points, coming from different places. But there was this one West group. This one West group wore purple, but they were not IUIC. I'm not even sure if IUIC even existed then. I think they were called the House of David, if I'm not mistaken. So they had a little group down there, and they had on purple too. And the brothers drew a crowd. They drew a crowd, and they was out there and they was teaching Deuteronomy 28. Brothers doing a real good job of breaking it down. And you had a crowd around them. They were listening. I'm like, man. And the Gentile was there, standing up there. Gentile ain't said a single word. Just standing there with the rest of the people. The dude teacher focused his attention on the Gentile. Yeah, I see you over there looking at me. You want to do something to me, don't you? And he said that. And then the Gentile is standing there like I ain't said nothing. The whole crowd dispersed. And he was doing a decent job. Everybody was like, oh, damn, that sound like us. That sound like us. And he followed to the Gentile and said, no, so when you said what you said, I've seen the agents function the way they function. Because what happened, the crowd dispersed. Then somebody like you go talk to one of these people and say, hey, no, we Israelites, Deuteronomy 28. Oh, I don't want to hear that. I already know where y'all at.
Damn.
And you got thinking about myself, well, how do this dude not know that his whole conversation could have been so different, even to the Gentile, that everybody would have been edified. But he didn't care nothing about edification. All he cared about was coming into the flesh, dealing with this Gentile that was just standing there. So that's a far-going conclusion regarding what these cats represent and who controls them.
Government,
Your boy. Oh, go ahead.
government agent.
Yeah.
Your boy vocab belong. He not covering it now. 12:30.
Oh, really?
Are you about to see coronation for they dance over? That's crazy.
Well, you know what? He need to get off alive and listen to this lesson
Nah, for sure.
from the author of the book that he praised and But anyway, that's another lesson too. Where we at?
We definitely at
Right, okay, yeah, 46.
Yeah, we just finished 46.
Yeah, 48, 47,
Right, we finished 46, 47.
48.
oh my page flipped. There we go. So we at 48.
47.
47. For so have Yahuwah commanded us, saying, I have set you to be a light of the Gentiles, that thou should be for salvation unto the ends of the earth.
Right, so after he said what he said, he qualified his statement by quoting Isaiah and saying, this is of the Most High, that he has set us to be a light, and us mean the nation, but y'all functioning contrary to the nation. So y'all not part of the us, but we the ones that stand in the gap. It's like we read in Ezekiel, he sought for a man to stand in the gap. No one stood in the gap. So this is what the apostles did. They stood in the gap and say, this is what Isaiah prophesied, that I have set thee to be a light of the Gentile, that thou shouldst be for salvation unto the end of the earth. Go ahead.
And when the Gentile heard this, they were glad and glorified the word of Yahuwah. And as many as were ordained to eternal life believed.
Now, you know, that's what these Gentiles seeking after, man. They seek, man, I hear these angry Israelites out here. Man, what are Israelites out here that really know this walk and can shut the mouths of these blasphemers out here? So you can pretty much understand how glad they were that someone was there to stand in the gap.
20 years ago.
Hallelujah, absolutely, absolutely. But this again is what a Sabbath assembly, a Yah-based assembly ought to be exactly like. You ought to be hearing the words of the law and the prophets being taught, and it needs to be an open assembly where Yah's spirit can be manifested among the people. Not a whole lot of assemblies are like that today, sadly enough. But moving right along, let's go on to Acts the 18th chapter. Matter of fact, not 18, somewhere between that. Acts the, is that 16 or 17? Okay, Acts the 17th chapter. This is just a side note right here, Acts the 17th chapter. And verse 10, Acts 17 chapter and verse 10.
Acts 17, verse 10. And the brethren immediately sent away Paul and Silas by night into Berea, who coming there went into the synagogue of the Yahudim.
That's right. They did not, prevent themselves from going into these synagogues. That's what they did, especially on Shabbat. They went into the synagogue of the Yahudim, and again, they are not in Israel right here. But go ahead.
These were more noble than those in Thessalonica, in that they received the word with all readiness of mind, and searched the scriptures daily, whether those things were so.
That's right. Because Paul, or anybody else here for that matter, was not the author of scriptures. All they could do is teach what they believe, and then they could bring what they believe out in the scriptures. But the people that heard that were like, okay, is that right? Okay. And they say they search the scriptures. Scriptures could not be anything that they wrote. You can't search something that they wrote to try to be like, oh, that must be right. No, it can't must be right. They search the scriptures to weigh what's being taught. See, that's true New Testament righteousness right there.
So scripture, it can't be indoctrinated. You can't pull no indoctrination from scripture. it's the way. You know what I'm saying? But that's why in the New Testament we got a lot of indoctrination.
Right. That's not based off
Because
of
they
scripture.
just saying something like, are they feeling philosophical?
Right. That's philosophical.
Actually,
Absolutely.
yeah, for sure, that's a good word.
Absolutely. But yeah, but but there's so many other places that we can go to, like in 2 Timothy, we say all scripture is given for, help me out, given for what?
For profit, for reproof, for edification.
You said about 4 things there. For rebuke, reproof. That's right.
Edification.
And that's what Paul
For
said.
the righteous.
That's what scripture is for. So these people here, they say they were more noble than Thessalonica because they heard the word being preached to them. But they went home and got into them scriptures and said, let's see if what he's saying is correct. Because if it wasn't correct, it'd been like, oh, what you saying don't line up with scriptures, my friend.
2 or 3 witnesses.
That's another, see, now that's another cold-blooded thing right there. Out of 2 or 3 witnesses, let all matter be established. So we got these scriptures here, and then we got the New Testament here. And so Paul, he would say something in Corinthians or whatever, but he's one witness. About 5 different books, but one
One
witness.
witness. Come on now.
One witness. So I need another
I
witness
need somebody in
to confirm what he's saying is correct. If I can't get nobody else to confirm it,
that's null and void.
null and void. It's a grain of salt doctrine. Because like you said, out of 2 or 3 witnesses, let every matter be established. But then again, it said that to the law and testimony, if they speak not according to this word,
Ain't
No light in them.
no light. So if ain't no light in you, how you gonna be a light to the Gentiles?
You don't.
You can't.
But see, Paul definitely understood that himself. Like, Romans 15, he mentioned about like reading things that was written aforetime.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, afore our time might be Paul, but Paul talking in that point. What is afore his time?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I think because of lack of reading comprehension and actually reading context, a lot of people don't understand certain stuff like that because they look at this book like they God and it's
And that's the
religion to
point.
them. And they don't understand that this is actual historical stuff. Like,
Right.
this ain't no fable.
Right.
And boom, for example, like the one count you got Sakari. Now they teach out of Paul letters a whole lot, and not knowing historically the real Sakari was trying to kill Paul. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? The real.
But actually, you know what? Here's the funny thing about it. I had did that lesson on Paul. And I did a lesson on Paul.
Mm.
Did you see it, ever see it?
Last year, right?
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, I did.
Here's the funny part about that. Check it out. I'm sitting in the chair you sitting in, and it was a Thursday, I think. I just said, you know what, let me do this. It wasn't on Shabbat.
Yeah, you was over here by yourself.
Yup, and I had on this hat just like this.
I like that hat.
Uh-huh.
And I sat there, it's on the video. To the second, when I say to the second, I mean to the second that I'm doing this lesson, Sakari is actually doing almost the same lesson on Paul.
Oh, really?
To the second, to the minute. And he have on a black hat too. I forgot what his black hat said, but he dressed up just like me, and we doing almost the exact same lesson, breaking down Paul. It was crazy. It was crazy. But yeah. Anyway, so he knows some things regarding Paul, but the point is that you're like going and kind of saying the same thing you said, but kind of in another way. Like we say, everything in the scripture is historical basis. You got to have a historical dynamic understanding. We in this time have to wrap our minds around the same understanding that they had at this time, because see, like we're reading, they understood the importance of scripture, and they understood that we ain't the one writing scripture. We're subject to scripture. But people today are, like you were saying, are looking at them and is trying to equal to Old Testament, quote unquote Old Testament, the law and the prophets. But that's not how they understood it. That's the way we comprehend it in 2023. And that ain't the way it's supposed to be. We supposed to be in the same vein as a Peter, Paul, John. The brothers came in here right now. They would be sitting down in the seats and they'll be listening to what's going on right now. And they'll be waiting to see if what we're saying line up with scriptures.
Right, not with their own words.
Right!
Line up
Right!
to not.
Right!
Right.
Right, exactly. Do y'all understand that?
Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, so
Yeah, I was surprised. Did you ever, were you going into Isaiah, like 49, verse,
yeah, talking about what he just quoted.
yeah, okay.
I wasn't gonna go there because that really wasn't a lesson, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, because we still dealing with the Sabbath day. We just got a little bit more there. Yeah, but that's what he was quoting out of Isaiah 49. I think Isaiah 42 also. Huh?
Okay.
Yeah, Isaiah 42 also. Like that. They talking about being a light to the Gentiles. All right. Moving right along though. Let's go into let's go to Acts 18 chapter, the next chapter, as a matter of fact. We're gonna establish something with them. Something I already said, but we're gonna establish it here. Start us off at verse 1. Acts 18 and verse 1.
Acts 18 and 1, these things Paul departed. After these things, Paul departed from Athens and came to Corinth, and found a certain Yahudi named Aquila, born in Pontus, lately come from Italy, with his wife Priscilla, because that Claudius had commanded all Yahudim to depart from Rome,
Oh, that's a story. That's deep. Okay.
and came unto them. And because he was of the same crowd, he abode with them and wrought, for by their occupation they were tent makers.
Okay, so my mind is wandering right now. I'm just trying to put this all together, understanding that the whole dynamic concerning the gospel of Yeshua is something that was kind of brand new during this time, right? And so you can imagine, I'm just saying this out of my own imagination, but I'm pretty sure that there's some truth to that, that at this particular time, we had to have a profound effect on Rome, right? Because we were in Rome, and we were in Rome living like the Romans, it wouldn't have been no big deal. But obviously, we wasn't living like the Romans because Claudius like, y'all got to get y'all ain't got to go home.
Step.
Because I'm going to take you home anyway. That's another lesson. But you got to go somewhere because you are affecting my citizens here in Rome. And he told them to get out. So I'm just kind of thinking in my mind that that could have been a very big thing then. Because we know that historically, Rome ended up what? They ended up taking Jerusalem, kicking all of us out of Jerusalem, and then they end up killing all that they could find who believed or understood or walked the way that we're walking today. That's Rome's system, right? So if he done already kicked them out of Rome, the kingdom expanding in Rome and like, oh yeah, so y'all here too, okay. Feed y'all the lions. Make y'all fight in the Colosseums. Make y'all do something that 2,000 years later is gonna be a movie by, what's his name? Yeah, you know, but I'm just saying just how deep that is, and then come to find out that Rome just happened to be the founding faction of Christianity today, right? Ain't that deep? Forget y'all. It's deep.
No, we did, but you know, it stuff in Revelation, you know, that little tiny part that came out of the other part, that's why it ended up.
Right. But absolutely. It's good to know how Rome plays a part in Christianity, Right here, Claudia's like, y'all get out of here, man. Y'all messing us up. Verse 3.
Verse 3, and because he was of the same craft, he abode with them and wrought for, by their occupation, they were tent makers. So verse 4, and he reasoned in the synagogue every Shabbat and persuaded the Yahudim and the Greeks.
Right, so this was something that he did every Shabbat. He didn't do it alone. He had the disciples with them. They knew that the Sabbath was a holy convocation that had to been done regardless of where you was at. Keep the holy convocation. When we travel, you say, I'm going to Philadelphia, find out where there's a Sabbath assembly at in Philadelphia. Hopefully before you get there. And then go to it because you keep the commandment. Not because you care so much about what they doing. Because on the surface, they supposed to be doing what you're doing, right? Regardless of what bad doctrine or whatever. Father give you the utterance and the license to talk to somebody, to share some scriptures, what they're doing, which is reasoning. Like when somebody asks me, but don't nobody ask me. Seriously. Brother Josiah, I want to debate you. I had that happen one time with some Gentile that wanted to debate me about tithes or whatever. But I never had, but other than that, one time, this has been like 10 years ago.
You didn't debate him, did you?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
I didn't.
Why?
I don't know why, I just didn't. But the point is that when I read the dynamic of debate in here, debate is not a righteous thing. Huh?
It's not what?
It's not a righteous thing.
Right, it's not. That's why I have ethics.
Right.
That's why. So I was asking today. I was like, why do you? I really see that it's something in men that they really enjoy debating.
Well, yeah, because we are.
But it's not righteous. So I'm just like.
We have a predator mentality.
Now y'all gotta get specific. What type debating y'all talking about now?
Well, but no, no. Hold on. The point is that here the word is reason, because that's what I do. I reason with you. Like if I ever got a chance to deal with vocab, because that's what he think he doing. Oh, somebody won't smoke or whatever. Oh, no, I'm gonna reason with you. It ain't gonna be a debate. It's gonna be a reasoning. Now you might get smoked in the reasoning, huh?
How you go about reasoning?
Well, the point is that just like what we do, just like Wednesday night, we came here, and if there was something that we were gonna deal with, even if I might have a different understanding that you might have on it, that's what we doing. We reasoning. Reasoning is the whole dynamic of reasoning, and I could be wrong, but this is what I'm getting, is that, okay, you know what? I could absolutely be wrong about this particular doctrine. And you want to reason with me, so let's reason. I'm going to share with you what I understand. You're going to share with me what I understand. And as we're reasoning, we're going to allow the scriptures to be the final solution.
Iron sharpens iron.
Iron sharpens iron.
I feel like that's the aspect that's missing from a lot. Like they don't come into it saying, you know what, we both could be wrong, but let the scriptures.
But that's not what a debate is, though. See, debate is that I already know I'm right.
Right. Yeah.
And the other person already know I'm wrong, but I gotta prove to you that this is
Right,
actually it.
right. So again, as men, we love competition. Now I said predator, but that's just what it is. That's why we love sports. We love to choose a team and take sides and be like, man, I get so much joy when my team beat up on their team.
Or even
You know,
when the Bills beat up.
like Cynthia husband Tresky, I love him to life. But when he come in with that Dallas Cowboy stuff on, it'd be a whole different thing, you know. But it's not a fun though. But I'm just saying that the competition is really real when we look at it like that. So we do the same thing with the Bible and scriptures. There's this innate dynamic within us that just love the competition part of it, and we use something like, oh boy, he about to get smoked, he about to get smoked, he about to get smoked, whatever. But that's not really righteousness at all.
It works with the Bible and
Most of these
scripture.
debates is you have two people who are convinced that they're right, So when the debate ends, they just both walk away believing that.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Ain't nothing changed.
absolutely,
Problem
absolutely,
Real
absolutely.
problem
If anything, just more problems.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
The real problem is that the people who like tuning in into the debate, they get no kind of edification. So they more confused listening to the
Especially if
debate
it's
than what
like,
they.
But see, that's how we try
like
to
you,
justify
so
the
I know
debate.
you, right.
I'm not preaching to him, I'm preaching to the people that might, I understand that dynamic, but,
More, you know what I mean?
right. But if you're gonna represent God, you got to represent him in the right spirit.
Confirmation bias, a lot of debates.
Huh?
There's a lot of confirmation bias on a lot of debates.
Mm-hmm.
But I think like what you said, like if that value came to you, sometimes I feel like you can sense when someone here really wanted to want some clarity, and then there's some people that's wanting to debate. And I think you can tell when people approach it. Yeah, it's almost like you said, the test of the spirit. You can
Right.
really tell.
True that. That is true. That's very true.
My Shia did that all the time. Good master, how you doing? Whenever
Right.
they was coming at him, he always, you know.
Nah, I don't think you can always tell. I done seen some people come in here, and it was like that, but then they left. Like, dang, bro, like, cause they didn't get their point across. You know what I'm saying?
Or they didn't get the answer they was looking for.
Right, that's what I'm
Somebody came in here and didn't get their point across.
It
Wow.
was a Gentile. I remember, cause I was paranoid. He started to get wrong with you a little bit. I'm like, man.
Oh yeah, that was the worst incident that ever happened.
That was
in
probably like
New
2
Orleans.
years ago.
Yeah.
We were scared. I remember me and Brandy was scared right there. We were like, what's going on?
Y'all was witnessing that interaction between me and him.
Yeah, we was up in here.
Like y'all was up
Because he
in
said,
here.
We
I
think
thought
that-
he had,
It
I
seemed
was like,
like
you
I
got
wasn't
your
allowing
phone?
him to get his point across. Be honest.
No, it was more like he wanted to make sure you understand that he can cast out demons and stuff like that. Like, that's what, if I remember correctly, that's
I
what he
think
was really
came
on.
in here
Like.
with a
Well, he
teacher
was. He
spirit.
must have been right because he
Like,
sure walked out.
Us. Something we didn't know.
I think it's that guy.
Catch up.
That would be, if they don't convince you, like, they still walk away.
Yeah, I think that's what his name was.
What was his name?
She just said his name.
Peter.
Yeah.
Or Philip or Peter, one of them. It wasn't.
But
It
they don't
wasn't
know
three
anything
P's.
about the Hemming Plaza days.
Oh.
That's where you're tested. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
He
that was
was
on like
tried
the
in
end.
every direction. all
How the father on
day.
the Wayne brothers used to say,
Don't tell.
don't tell nobody. No, anyway.
You getting tried at JWJ?
Huh?
You getting tried
Oh
downtown?
man, them young Jakes up there, man.
Downtown was the worst.
It was the worst. Man, I ain't gonna lie. I was somewhere else then. Cause
Yeah.
I think I had saw them guys do a video or whatever. I think they might have mentioned me. And they were downtown. I got in my car, went right downtown to where they was at. But y'all talk about me right now, right on the camera, and they didn't want to get into it with me. That done happened with that. I ain't gonna lie, that happened to me a few times. Y'all, man, y'all making me go back in my backslide days. Anyway,
Pull up on
oh man, I done pulled up,
That's
seriously.
to show where you stepped it up.
Huh?
That's where you are now.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Anyway, but the truth of the matter is that it's easy to allow ourselves to get into it, especially when we hear our name called or whatever, but it ain't you supposed to be about all that. Yeah, yep, absolutely, absolutely the flesh, absolutely the flesh, y'all. But moving right along, y'all. Let's go to Luke the 4th chapter. Luke the 4th chapter.
So I don't like the entertainment of the Super Bowl is go on the street and record everybody. Cause somebody who not even true, they watching it just for the drama and the entertainment of it.
Exactly.
They not learning, oh.
That's why they have the numbers that they got, because of that. They want to be a part of the entertainment.
Yes.
And that's why they kick the specific doctrines that they kick, and they title the titles the way they do, because they know it's gonna get you click.
Ball
Yeah.
head, they gonna say ball head fraud.
I can't, that if that ain't wicked, if that's not wicked, I don't know what can be
Because one of them
wicked.
actually explained it, he was like, I
Huh?
gotta say,
Edomite smacked down by Jake because I know that's what's gonna get you to click.
Right.
They all dressed like a basketball team. They got the all Sakari shirts, they be all different colors. I'm like, they'll try to order this.
I'm gonna tell y'all something to me, and that's heartbreaking to me personally, because I was in Chicago, and like I say, we didn't even know these cats even existed in life until the guy showed up on Jerry Springer. That's where we first saw him, on Jerry Springer, and they was on Jerry Springer. Jerry Springer said Hebrew Israelites, and these guys got up there. We didn't know what they were really called, and we called them down. Hey, y'all see these cats? And we were like, man, Jerry Springer must have created this group. I'll never forget, that's what we were thinking, man. He must create this group. But they was on there, and so this was in '93 when they first came on there. And we was calling everybody like, man. And so I knew that from that time, all I kept thinking about, these guys would never, ever make it to Chicago. They would never, ever do it in Chicago. And so then come whatever year that was, and me and Tonda went up to Chicago, and we up there, and we ride through downtown, and then we look over there, and the Harold Washington Library, see these groups out, see one of the groups out there doing their thing, I'm like, oh man, I was absolutely wrong.
What it was, ISUPK?
No, it was an offshoot, and I call them offshoots of GM.
Oh, GMS got a lot of offshoots, yeah.
Right, and see, that's why I know it, because these guys, you will see these guys out there, you always know them by their tunics and stuff. And of course, they had the 12 tribe chart, but they would never admit to being GMS, because they know that they have no affiliation with GMS. And so I'm talking to the guy, and he out there doing all this curtain stuff. I'm like, man, where y'all from? I'm like, we from here. I'm like, really? I'm like, y'all know that there's a whole bunch of Israelites here in Chicago. How did y'all get involved with them? Oh, but we saw the elders on YouTube, and so we, and then he started telling me about the doctrines, how they teach them, like, when you out here, you got to sound like a man, and this is what sounding like a man is. Sounding like a man ain't, just nice, pleasant stuff or whatever that you're trying to come across. So these guys were taught to come across the way they come across. Like somebody, somebody said, oh, that was you. I had an issue with you when you said this, but you were saying how they speak because of the frustration or something like that. You said that in one of your videos, how these Israelites or whatever, they speak according to the frustration that they going through or whatever. And I'm like, no, there ain't no frustration. These cats, it ain't that much frustration in the world. They were taught to come across like that. Because, yeah.
Remember I told you,
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't no frustration, ain't that much frustration. You see all this stuff. As an Israelite, we supposed to be so far above that on the other side, because unlike everybody else, we know. But we out there acting like the white man is the author of our frustration.
I think I said that because when they be quoting Ecclesiastes 7, oppression make a wise man mad.
Right. That's true.
Yeah, so I just went up under that verse and showed about what if you take that man to a degree, then you become a fool.
True that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But to get on the street, they used to do something called Men of Valor, particular camp I was at. So they have 2 lines of all the men in 2 columns. So we'll come out there and they'll say, exercise like fine, first Thessalonians, we got a race to get there first. Whoever get there first, you gotta scream and project your voice. Now if you don't, they gonna say, man, get to the back, bro. Like, they say the Most High, He knows what you got in you. So if you don't leave here with a horse throat, then you ain't projecting enough. You know what I'm saying? So, right, they are teaching us to do that.
Right.
Or militant.
Well, they were training your tail, huh, boy?
That sound like when I went through boot camp.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Absolutely. But again, that's those spirits. All right, but moving right along, y'all. Let's go on. So anyway, we in Luke 4. No, we didn't read this.
Yeah.
Luke 4 and pick us up at verse 14.
Luke 4 and 14. Uh-oh. And Yahshua returned in the power of the Ruach into Galilee, and there went out a fame of him through all the region round about. And he taught in their synagogues, before being glorified of all. And he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up, born and grown. And as his custom was, he went into the synagogue on the Shabbat day and stood up for the read.
And see, when people read it, they read, oh, that was just his custom. That was his custom. It probably should have read, as the commandment dictated, he went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day and stood up for the read. But that's what he did. He went into the synagogue. You know, this is Yahshua. You know, he had enough disciples where he could have probably went under a tree and build whatever, but that's not what he obviously considered a convocation. He went into an established place, which again, this is one of the reasons why we had to get out the library, because I felt that that was cheating what we supposed to be doing, going to a library, going to different people's houses or whatever. That's not, you're not giving glory to the Most High when you do that. So the synagogue or the temple is where people are supposed to come to, because one thing about it is that the place is sanctified. It's dedicated to the service of Yah. The library ain't dedicated to the service of Yah. My house truly ain't. Right.
Eat and calculation with your spouse.
Right.
Like all the type of stuff you can find out.
And don't, I want people to understand what I'm saying. I don't want to, sound negative concerning, because man, try to get a place people can come together and learn truth. I just get so tired of when people, they'll look at churches in one type of way, but then they'll look at what we're doing and being like, we don't have a place or building. We got to do things free or whatever.
Decency in the order. We gotta be in decency in the order.
No, I'm just saying how we take the easy way out, while churches is established and they build doing their things. That's not how it's supposed to be.
We're Hebrews, so we gotta be outside the walls.
Yeah, because
Most
of the time people come into the truth thinking tithes and offering are bad. Just
That's
because
what the problem
Christianity
is.
put a bad taste in
That's
their mouth.
what it is.
Well, really, you probably be doing that.
That's what
Giving
it
your
I ain't heard the story. The few of y'all that ain't heard the story, I'm gonna tell it for them, because y'all that heard the story, y'all can just rest your head on the table or whatever. I used to have the same thing here in Indianapolis, Indiana. And these white chairs with the chairs, see, y'all sit in good chairs. I don't believe in the good chair, I believe in these chairs there. But anyway, that's what I had there, man. It was this older guy came there. He came there 3 Shabbats in a row, came there. 3 Shabbats in a row and whatever. And so just like I do here, I don't bring up, and if we got something that you can share, so we keep it a little box, just like I do here. I rarely ever say that. I'm gonna play another, I was doing the same thing up there. And so on the 3rd Shabbat he was there at the end of the class, I said, what I'm gonna say? No, and for those of you who got something that you can share, I got a little box here, put something in there, whatever, that was it. I said it just like that, same tone and everything. Dude jumped out of his seat, sprung up. Wait, before he did that, before that, it must have been around Christmas time or something, and he came in there, and he like, man, I don't know why these cats be still falling for this Christmas stuff, I was in the church last Sunday, church I go. Dude jumped up out of the seat. Man, I thought this was supposed to be free. And when he said that, I feel like my lips was growing, because I had so many things hit my mouth at the same time, I didn't know where to come to it with, man. I was like, dude, that water that you got in your hand, bro, that ain't free. That seat that you sitting in your hand, somebody paid for that, bro. how did you hear about this class? I heard about the class because I saw a flyer up at the mailbox when I go get my mail. Bro, that flyer that you saw is not free. You know, somebody paid for that. I say, right here, right next door to us is a hair beautified place, hair dressing place. Across that door in there, that's a transportation place over there. What you think this is? So I had to, but what you just said is exactly what the mentality of Israel is. It's a bad taste in their mouth, but yet they can still go in them churches and expect to sit down in there and if the plate pass around, they're gonna put something in there because that's just how they mind is. Tomorrow, go back in that church. When they pass that plate around, stand up and say the same thing you said here.
Keep that same energy.
Keep that same energy. And I ain't seen that brother after that because he was offended. But I didn't care about him being offended. He needed to understand that what was happening there. But anyway, that's what happened. So y'all heard the story. So 5 Sabbaths from now, I'm going to tell that same story again. Don't look at me crazy. Anyway, but yeah, that's what Yahshua did. He went into the synagogue or the temple or Knesset, and he kept the Sabbath. He didn't just do his own thing and been like, I'm chilling, whatever, because that's what the commandment is and of a holy convocation on the Sabbath, okay? Moving right along. Let's go on to Exodus, the 31st chapter.
Yep. Hey, I just think it's crazy in that same chapter in Luke, verse 27, when they say, when they're trying to say Elijah's name or Elisha's name, what it say? And many lepers were in Israel in the time of Elizu.
Those of you who don't know this, there's a whole story to that verse too. Personal story for me is that I'm gonna tell y'all this story. One of my friends, Morey Nuriyahu, I know him for years. He was teaching before I was teaching, from way back in '90. Anyway, I'm at his house chilling. He came to me and said, bro, you ever seen this before? 1611 KJV. I said, no, I ain't never really looked at it before. And so, every time I get a new Bible, I always turn to Genesis 10th chapter, see if I see the word Gentiles in. But it's a KJV, so I assume it's going to be in there. And so, yeah, it's in there. As John's my witness, probably because I was just debating these cats in Atlanta. I was visiting Chicago, and I was showing them this right here, Luke 4:27. And I say, bro, that says Eli Zeus right there. And what you saying, Eli Zeus?
Right, Elizu.
Bro, that name ain't no Eli Zeus, man. That's pronounced Eliseus, man. You trying to put Zeus in there because you trying to go into this Jesus, Zeus name, whatever, Jesus, whatever. So I sat there in my boy's crib. That's what I did. I turned to Luke 4:27 just to see what it said because it was fresh in my mind. And I went in there to make the long story short. That word that y'all see in there in the King James, he spelled Eliscus. Right here is Elizeus.
Ooh, dang, for real?
Yeah, right here. Yeah, right here.
Oh, that's terrible, bro.
Right here. And the point is, I never saw it before. But I'm looking at it in what you looking at. I say that's Elizeus. Because El is, God, Elohim, and Zeus, because I was comparing Elizeus to Elisha, who was supposed to be. And what does Shah mean in the Hebrew?
Save.
Huh?
Save.
Save, salvation.
Oh, Lord. Great day in the morning.
When I saw it, I almost fell back in the chair that I was sitting on.
Okay.
And Morey Nuriyahu, I showed him that. You ever seen this? He looked at it like, what? And he showed his friend that was sitting there. I was trying to avoid it. Because every time I tell the story, I talk about it. Pisces, right? Anyway, him and his boy went into the back room, and they left me sitting in the bed. I'm like, damn. Then he came back, that book there. He said, here, take this book back to Atlanta with you. Still got it. But it was just that deep. Anyway,
Yeah.
don't my stories be so good though?
No, yeah.
They
So,
never get old.
but yeah, but that, like you say though, that was deep because, huh?
I was saying you had reference there in your book.
Right, I did that, but that's where it comes from. No, that is exactly where that comes from. I'm like, man, I will never acknowledge the name Jesus as long as I live by no shape, form, or fashion, because that right there was so revealing to me. The Greeks, Zeus is salvation. Simple as that. It's right there in their book, Eli Zeus, from Elisha to, and that's the connection because the J-E-S-U-S, that S-U-S is what? Salvation. But it wasn't no S-U-S, it was Z-E-U-S that they evolved into an S-U-S. Because before was it before Jesus?
It is.
Zeus.
Eli Zeus.
Oh,
Jesus, no.
Eliezer.
Jesus. No, you said it right. Jesus.
Oh, that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah, Jesus.
Jesus.
Right.
You know what? Somebody broke that down. Jesus.
Uh-huh.
With J-E-S. I think J-E means earth. S-U-S pig.
Pig, yeah. Yeah, that's one of the different doctrines they have concerning that. But because it's Greek, and that right there, it brought it out, didn't it?
Yeah, so
You can't get out of
You
that
can't, yeah.
being Zeus.
Being a beast.
Yeah.
Dang.
But anyway, yeah, I like that you brought that up though. Yeah. Anyway, let's go into Exodus, the 31st chapter. See what time is it? Oh. It is, ain't it?
Said it early.
Feel like it's been 4 hours already. Exodus, the 31st chapter. Boy, that was a long time ago. That was, man, what was that? That was 99.
Cash Money record taking over from a 9.
My mother was looking for me. She said, I don't see you. She see you.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
So
So,
it's going way better.
hi, Ma.
There she go.
2099.
Cash Money
Okay, you
record.
know what she would ask me, I would have gave a whole good story why you wasn't here. She'd have been like, I told you not to marry him. That's another 31st chapter, y'all. Y'all Moray crazy, boy. He could be crying in 1 second and then laughing.
Crazy.
Like
So
he lost his
then
mind.
he switched it up quick, what?
Next spoken with me.
That part.
It was so crazy because you're a human being.
Right. Correct. Correct. Yeah, say that. Exodus, the 31st chapter. Let's start this off with verse 12.
Exodus 31 and 12. And Yahuwah spake unto Shemaiah, saying, Speak thou also unto the children of Yasharel, saying, Truly my Shabbats you shall keep, for it is a sign between me, it's a mark between me and you throughout your generations, that you may know that Ahaya, Yahuwah, that do sanctify you.
Real quick question. Y'all think that it was the absence of Shabbat that caused us to go crazy?
Cause that go crazy?
Yeah. Because like when we read in Ezekiel earlier, when he said, I tried to find a man to stand in the gap, but we was like doing everything contrary to the word Most High Yah. We wasn't keeping the Shabbat.
Yeah.
You know what?
I was telling my wife the other day.
For example, like we mentioned how we don't eat meat. So if you go back to eat meat, your body gonna react a certain way. It's
Okay.
gonna be like, oh, you're gonna be feeling a certain type of way, whether you're not eating meat. But for us not,
Bro, I need a Shabbat every week. I need it.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I need to see y'all. They gonna break. Man, my spirit great. But remember last week you said, if you was to do a trial and error, I don't suggest nobody do it, but if you was to come to Shabbat, like 7 Shabbats in a row,
Right.
and you did it without coming, you'll be a totally different you than the person that would come
Absolutely.
every week. Like,
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
you gonna
Absolutely.
start going this
Absolutely.
way.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And I can definitely speak for myself, man.
I can, too.
But I'm just saying, it's just the truth of the matter that, oh man, I'm gonna miss this Shabbat, this, that, and then you let it keep going, you are an entirely different person. Entirely different. But
That's true.
but absolutely, so far we started off with the concerning Christianity, which is, and how the Father feels about it, and what the Father has done to his nation. There's another place in here. It's in the book of Jeremiah. I didn't have it in this lesson, but he says somewhere in Jeremiah, if we would have only just kept his Shabbat, we'd have stayed in the land.
I be looking for that, bro.
Yeah, it's in Jeremiah, but I didn't think about it earlier.
Yeah, I think we read it one time.
Yeah, and I don't have my phone, so I can't search it. I just thought about it. But the Father is serious about that Shabbat. Just like you got 4 of the military branches, right? Which of those 4 military branches is probably considered physically the weakest of the 4?
Air Force. Air Force.
Air Force?
The weakest in what?
Say
Well,
Coast
Coast
Guard.
Guard's not really count though. If you talk about the 4 branches, it's the Air Force.
Yeah, air force.
Yeah.
It's the Air
All they do is press a button and kill people.
Right. And then Navy, and then
What's
Army,
his name
and Marines is the
at
toughest.
Craig Vegan, he teased me. He said, "Oh, you was right." I said, "Man, why you trying to play? Why am I mentioning that though? You don't know why? Because something that I didn't know some years ago that I learned later, probably a few years ago, was that Army and Marines are the 2 branches that they maintain PE.
Oh, yeah.
The Air Force and Navy don't maintain
Yeah.
PE.
No.
And I,
A lot of chiefs in the Navy, they don't do PT.
Yeah.
It's like,
Matter of fact, in the Navy, you have, it's almost like they do it on your own free will or something like
that's why
that.
you see a lot of them fat commanders
And they
stuff
fat.
like that. That's why I was
yeah,
saying.
a lot of chiefs and hires, like a lot of them are morbidly obese.
Right. I see that. So again, and that, Cynthia saying you don't use it, you lose it. That's what my mind
That
was.
part, yeah.
That part. Because I was like, damn, boy, I don't think I would have chosen. Anyway, that's another story. Anyway, they still get up early in the morning no matter what, and they still do PT, whatever. Anyway, what verse should we need? You off that? I thought we did. We did. Yeah, we did.
We have verse 14.
All right, 14, go ahead.
You shall, Exodus 31 and 14, you shall keep the Shabbat therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. 6 days may work be done, but in itself is a Shabbat of rest, sanctified to Kodesh together.
Right, right.
Whosoever doeth any work in the Shabbat, he shall surely be put to death. Wherefore the children of Yisrael shall keep the Shabbat, to observe the Shabbat throughout their generation, for a what? Perpetual covenant.
Hallelujah.
No cap. Verse 17. It is a sign between me and the children of Yisrael forever. For in the 6 days, Yahuwah made heaven and earth, and on the 7th day he rested and was refreshed.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So nobody of any understanding should allow any instance to take them away from keeping Sabbath. Simple as that, because we know what the Father feel about it. We know what the lack of Shabbat did to our ancestors. We are in this land right now because our forefathers refused to keep Sabbath. So again, and just like them verses you pointed out earlier, so many times the Father wanted us not to be like our forefathers.
Let me I want y'all to really key in on 17, that last word, because 6 days will be around people who do not keep the Most High
Right.
laws.
Ooh.
Be around all types of
Speak on
spirits
that.
and entities and dealing with ailments. But the 7th day, he said it was refreshed. We get a whole new start.
Right, right,
Start.
correct.
Spiritual.
I love that.
Boom.
Absolutely, absolutely. So to add to what he's saying, in other words, you are Friday, you already have a certain mindset because of what you done dealt with the past 5 days.
Mm.
Preferably it was okay, but sometimes it'd be a little less than okay. Shabbat though, and then you go back doing your thing on Sunday, Monday, whatever. If you'd have went to Shabbat, it could have kept you from doing something that you end up doing Monday when somebody said the wrong thing to you on your job or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, that's that refreshing part. It keeps you in check.
In your discipline.
Right.
Keeps your discipline.
Right.
in check.
It's interesting, I always think of like a computer, you know how sometimes the computer the system have to, you know, reboot.
Right.
And it's almost like taking all those caches out.
That's right.
Like,
Yeah.
like
That's right.
all those things. that
That's
you
right.
got, like you said, all those 6
That's
days,
right.
and all of a sudden, yeah. Clear that.
That's
That shit,
Again, like, every week.
That's right.
That's why, man, y'all, he created us so perfect.
Right.
I was just finna say it's a beautiful system, bro.
It is.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right.
Even
Yo.
with the high holiday, like they come right on time.
Yep.
Like,
Yes.
Yep. Cynthia be calling tech support. Man, my system is not acting right. First thing they say is reboot your system, restart your system, and then do that. You know, because that helps clear some of the cache right there. And then you do it, and that's what happened. But that's a very, very, very good analogy. Because we are the most sophisticated system on the face of the earth.
Yes.
That's why our diet got to match that system, right?
No cap.
Or else we're gonna be what's the term? Virus.
Dang. Oh yeah.
They need it.
Y'all know that sound that the Windows computers used to do, the fat back in the early 2000s. When it shut down, it like a. I can't do the sound, but it's stuck in my head. Yeah.
Oh, that one, I know that sound right there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, the book of Numbers, the 13th chapter.
What was all the words in that verse you were looking for? If only they had kept the Sabbath. Some other words.
Just search Sabbath in Jeremiah, because I know it's in Jeremiah.
Okay.
Or just say Sabbath and maybe land. That might put them two together.
Because it says, neither carry forth a burden out of your houses on the Shabbat day, neither eat any work.
No, that's
But
not.
hallow the Sabbath day as I command your fathers. That's 17 and 22 in Jeremiah.
Mm.
It gotta be showing that
No.
how if you don't do nothing else, keep the Shabbat.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's always been a memorial. I mean,
Okay,
it's
that's
like
not it. How
Passover.
many places do you see in Jeremiah that has Sabbath in it?
So another one is 17 and 24. And it shall come to pass if ye diligently hearken unto me, saith the Elohim, to bring in your burden through the gates of the city on the Shabbat day, but hallow the Shabbat day to put in. That's 17 and 24.
And to me, it sounds like even carrying burdens is a work in itself.
Mhm.
Oh, like mentally.
Yeah,
Dang.
that makes sense.
Yep.
Let them bads go.
Yep.
Shabbat should be the exact opposite of burden.
Yeah.
But our wickedness, yeah. But our wickedness is what makes Shabbat to be a burden within itself.
Right.
Ain't that something?
Mm.
Yeah, I believe it was Jeremiah. I could be wrong. I thought it was Jeremiah where I read that in there though. He said, if you would just have kept my Shabbat, then you would have still been in the land, whatever. We'll find it though. Anyway, Numbers the 13th chapter.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
What verse?
Number 13th chapter. And let's start this at verse. Oh. You know what? I think I might have wrote this down wrong. Unless it was 31. Is it 31? I think I wrote it down wrong. Yep.
Dang.
Yeah, I think it's Numbers, the 31st chapter. One second. You know what? I'm gonna table this one. That's not it either.
Mm-hmm.
That's not it either. I must have wrote either the number, verse wrong or the book wrong. But we don't need that anyway. A few more places, y'all. Hebrews, the 3rd chapter.
Hebrew.
Let me see, that would be one we got. How many more verses you saw that in?
I know I just told
It's gonna be either Jeremiah, Ezekiel, what that is. Anyway, y'all, let's go to Hebrews, the 3rd chapter. You think it's Ezekiel?
I wanna see it.
Hebrews 3:1. Wherefore, holy brother, partakers of the heavenly calling, consider profession, Mashiach Yeshua, who was faithful to him that appointed him. Also, Shemaiah was faithful in all his house. For the man was counted worthy of more glory than Shemaiah, inasmuch as he who have builded the house have more honor than the house. For every house is builded by... No, my bad. I'm just stuck on 3. For every house by some man, but he that build all things is Elohim.
Hallelujah.
And Shemaiah truly was faithful in all his house as a servant for a testimony of those things which were to be spoken after. But Mashiach as a son over his own house, whose house are we, if we hold fast the confidence and the rejoicing of the hope firm unto the end. Wherefore, as the Ruach HaKodesh said, today, if you hear this voice, harden not your hearts, as in the provocation, in the day of temptation in the wilderness, when your fathers tempted me, proved me, and saw my works 40 years. Wherefore I was grieved with that generation, and said they do always a heart, and they have not known my ways. I believe that's Psalm 95, I believe.
Right, okay. Mm-hmm.
So I swear in my wrath, they shall not enter into my rest. Take heed, brother, lest there be in any of you an evil heart of unbelief, in departing from the living Elohim. But exhort one of you be hardened through the deceitfulness of sin. For we are made partakers of Mashiach, if we hold the beginning of our confidence steadfast until the end.
And it's again interesting, you would think this would be a simple dynamic, but it's not really simple, that the Messiah is the exact sin or transgression of the law. That's another lesson. Go ahead.
I have a question.
Huh?
Just so I'm clear, 'cause I think I know what it means, but I want to be sure. But the exhort one another daily, with scripture, just with praises, or?
Yeah, through all of that. Through all of that. Huh?
Build each other up.
Right. Yeah, have a way that you exhort. Exhort is to get somebody out of that negative mindset, or a mindset that you can see as leading this person to sin. You know, because the thing is, man, I don't know no man, especially myself, that can attain to the righteousness of. But David, when he did that transgression, that was a horrible transgression he did. And he did it without reservation. You know, using him as an example, he probably didn't have nobody to stand up to him. Because even Nathan was scared to say something to him until the time came for Nathan to do it. And when deep that is, because without that exhortation, any of us can at any given time go off on the left end. Cause that's just how, and he says did he say the deceitfulness of sin? Deceit, that's the power of Satan right there. And his demons, they're designed to deal with us according to that. You know, we can justify just about anything. Just about anything, man. I'll give an example of that, but I'm gonna leave that alone. But we do that. But yeah, exhort. It's important because we all need exhortation. All of us need it. If you don't need it, boy, you're a good individual. And
Okay.
I desire to be you for real.
Sometimes it pays to be a Libra. Had a thread on it. That was for you all.
If y'all missed last year by lesson though, we did a very exhaustive talk about the signs in the heavens and how it relates to us, whatever. It was pretty decent though. But anyway, I might not never do that part again though. But yeah. Anyway, where we at?
Verse 15.
Mhm.
What it is said, today, if you will hear his voice, harden not your hearts as in the provocation. For some, when they had heard, did provoke. Howbeit not all that came out of Mizraim by Shemaiah. But with whom was he grieved 40 years? Who was he grieved with for 40 years? Was it not with them that had sinned, whose carcasses fell in the wilderness? And to whom sware he that they should not enter into his rest, but to them that believe not? So we see he could not enter in because of unbelief.
All right, 4-1. Let's get it.
4:1, let us therefore fear, lest a promise being left us of entering into his rest, any of you should seem to come short of it.
That's right. That's a good word right there. And that is my walk. Because a lot of people love to be like, oh, I love love. Love, love. No, sometimes when that love might go, you need to let that fear kick in.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I remember when Brother Bowie of IOG, he gave a lesson concerning marriage. Something that I never forget, certain things he said. But this was a cool lesson in terms of preserving marriage. He said, you know, when you get married, you know, that's what it'd be about. It'd be about that love, that emotional feeling of love. Right, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You know, because time passed and we tend to get, that word began with C.
Chilling.
Complacent. And you get complacent, that love is not going to be where it was some years ago when you were just trying to, you know, do some things, saying that nicely. He said, look, when that love fails, you better let that fear kick in. That's what I remember teaching that. But that's exactly as it is according to keeping the commandments of the Most High. You know? Sometimes when you want to do something, what you want to do, that's contrary to the word, then that love ain't kicking in the way it needs to kick in.
I think that goes with your prayers too. Because you can keep repeating the same thing over and over again, but y'all's not going to listen to it unless it's genuine and you're coming in the right spirit.
Okay.
So you can keep doing the same thing, but it's really the spirit of truth.
Yeah. Because you know what, I'm glad you said that, because like our fathers, there were certain things that our fathers did, and we'll read it, it's like, oh, they were keeping the commandments here. They were keeping this here. But they were doing those things out of tradition, like the Day of Atonement. That's a tradition. You know, yeah, Day of Atonement represents me being absolved from my sins. But that lamb ain't even hardly sacrificed. You already thinking about what you're going to do tomorrow night, because you done got absolved from your sins keeping the Day of Atonement. That's what we did in keeping the commandment. But that was not the Day of Atonement that the Father commanded us to keep. So that's another reason for Yahshua. I think Hebrews talk about that, about when we did that, but it did not speak to our conscience. I'm kind of paraphrasing it. But Yahshua's sacrifice coming among the blood, baptism, whatever, is the conscience is the first and foremost thing that deals with that. Repenting. And that's what we did. We didn't even repent when we did the tradition of the Day of Atonement. Ain't no repentance. You just glad that you got a out.
A fresh slate.
Huh?
A fresh slate.
Yeah, a fresh slate. You know?
Somehow like that lady in Proverbs. She stand on the corner. She says, I gave my alms, you know, repenting. Come on through.
Oh. Oh. Yeah. Yep. That was our mindset.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh. Where we at, man? 4?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, let us therefore fear. Go read that.
One again, I get. Let us therefore fear lest a promise being let us of entering into his rest. Any of you should seem to come
Man,
short
don't
of
think
it.
you can't come short of it, Jack. Man, don't think you can't come short of it, because you can. Go ahead.
For unto us was the gospel preached, as well as unto them. But the word preached did not profit them, not being mixed with faith in them that heard it.
I wonder what the Christians think about this. Same gospel, y'all. Gospel did not begin with the New Testament, Jesus Christ, whatever. No, he said the gospel is the same gospel. It was preached unto them. Them being of the wilderness, as well as unto us. A gospel of repentance, a gospel of salvation. That is the true gospel. It's the same gospel. Ain't that something? Go ahead.
3. For we which have believed do enter into rest. As he said, as I have sworn in my wrath, if they shall enter into my rest, although the works were finished from the foundation of the world.
That rest we enter in is the rest from all the sinful stuff that we did. That's gone. We have entered into a rest with him. That's the specific. Right now, he's about to talk about 3 different rests right now. So it sounds confusing unless you read it into a context. He said, for we which have believed do enter into rest. As he said, as sworn in my wrath, if they shall enter my rest, although the works in Genesis 1 were finished from the foundation of the world. Go ahead.
For he spake in a certain place of the 7th day, on this wise.
Of the 7th day. 7th day represents what?
Completion.
But in the context of what he's talking about, rest. Right. The rest. And he says the 7th day, for he spoke he spake in a certain place of the 7th day on this wise. Go ahead.
On this wise. And Elohim did rest the 7th day from all his work. And in this place again, if they should enter into my rest.
Right. So he said, well, he already spoke that the Father did rest on the 7th day. But then in this place again, he says, if, future tense, they shall enter into my rest. Go ahead.
Seeing therefore it remained that some must enter therein, and they to whom it was first preached, enter not in because of unbelief.
2 different rests, right? Go ahead.
Again, he limited a certain day, saying, in that we, today, after so long a time, as it is said, today, if you will bear his voice, harden not your hearts. For if Yahshua had given them rest, then would be not afterward have spoken of another day.
Right. Yahshua had given them rest. Then would he not afterwards spoken of another day. What Yahshua is that talking about?
Son of none.
Huh?
Son of none.
Right. Not the Messiah, Yahshua, but Yahshua, the son of Nun,
Commander.
the successor of Shemaiah. Is what he's talking about. Right. And see, that was one of my studies back in the day when I was trying to break down about the sacred name. That's another portion right here, that in the New Testament, when you see passages that were referring to Joshua, they put the name Jesus there, which lets you know that it's the same name, that it comes from the same name, but it ain't Jesus. Because I'm like, wait a minute, but Joshua, that's English. Joshua is the actual English transliteration of Yahshua, not Jesus.
Yeah, because I was actually, when I was reading the book of Joshua, I was wondering, like, if this is about Jesus, why is it not named the book of Jesus?
Right. Right.
Well,
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
well, I think because Joshua is part of the Tanakh from the Masorite, they were translating that from Hebrew.
Right.
New Testament was
Right.
translated from whatever was left from the Septuagint in Greek. I mean, the Codex Sinaiticus. So
Right.
if it was in Greek, yeah.
Right.
I mean, if it was in New Testament, yeah, definitely.
Right, which is also the Apocrypha, what happens
Yeah.
referring to Joshua, because they done took it, like you said. But see, the problem is, though, is that we're English. So it's problematic when you say you got a Hebrew name and they supposedly translated from the Greek. And then, right, to English. That work, period. That don't work by no stretch of the imagination. Why wouldn't you take the Hebrew to English instead of the Hebrew Greek to English? Because first you speak about it's not Greek. Greek
Right.
should not even play a part in giving him a name other than his actual Hebrew name.
Then, yeah, I thought names, I thought if I go to,
That's right.
somewhere else.
That's right.
Let's even call you Terry, huh?
Or if it got public over there, it better say public, right? Well, better,
Yeah.
be spelled wrong, but it
Any
better say
name.
public, right?
See, that's the thing. People don't understand the difference between translation and transliteration. Matter of fact, even right here, and right,
What we at Luke 4?
where we at? Luke, we at Hebrews. No, Hebrews.
Oh boy,
Hebrews 4 and 8.
Hebrew
So
4 and 8.
go into 16:11 right quick. This is the King James version. This is the original King James version.
Yes, sir.
Hebrews 4 and 8.
I
See,
bet.
this is the way it's supposed to be right here. When you take a name and you transliterate it, meaning you taking the characters of that and you imposing it into another language, characters, alphabet. You're gonna see a different characterization because some letters are not in the Greek that are in the English. But when you see it, it's gonna be pronounced the exact same way it's pronounced in the original tongue.
He said,
And I'm gonna show you an example of this.
alright.
Yeah,
Oh.
so spell that, how is that spelled there?
IOSUAH.
That shows you what the English, actually that's the Greek, but it's also the English. IOSUAH. That would have solved if they would have put the name Yahshua and transliterated it in the Greek characters. Because in Greek, there's not a Y. So they couldn't put a Y there if they writing it down. Right, exactly. They put I. I is the letter, first letter they have. I. Y'all ever seen that movie, Indiana Jones and it was Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Love it.
Right, so you know that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. that's-
So he's in that scene where he got the walk the rock, right? And you got to spell the name of the Father with the different letters is on the rock, right? And he thinking about it. He already know. He said, "Ain't no J," but he see a Y there, and he stepped on the Y. And his leg almost went through the thing because it wasn't a Y because they was doing it in the, I guess, the Greek.
Jehovah.
Right, but he saw an I there, and he stepped on the I, and that was it. Because the transliteration is, in the Greek, is the I. There ain't no Y, like you said, there ain't no J either, so there's an I. So that's why you see an I right there.
It's funny that he
Well,
stepped on
J is
Y
the capital
and
I.
then-
Right.
Because that was the rice.
Right. Well, no, he almost fell
But
with
I'm
the Y,
saying-
right.
It's funny that he stepped on the Y.
Right.
Instead of another letter.
Right. Right. But it was an I, and so again, it's Iosuah. How's that pronounced?
Yoshua.
Huh? Right. But it's also Yahshua.
It is. Sure.
Why can't it be
Just
just
spelled with different
Yahshua?
letters.
So a Greek person reading that, they would know based off of hearing the Hebrew name that that's as close to Yahshua as we can get
In spelling.
in the Greek.
Yeah.
Spelling it like that.
Yeah.
It ain't no Jesus in the Greek. That's the point. That's the point that I'm making. That kills the notion that his name is Jesus.
Right.
That's
It's a
what
whole
kills.
made up thing.
Yeah, it's a whole made up name. You know, Jeremiah 2:11 asks you, man. I first learned this verse, man. It changed everything
Have
about
a
it.
nation change
Have a
their
nation
gods?
change their gods, man. I'm
Who-
like, oh my
Who
damn.
are yet
Do it that are yet no gods.
Still.
Figure
ain't-
that out.
Ain't that something?
Nation ain't changed their gods. Well, they've been worshiping Jesus before Yahshua came in the flesh. Seriously. So when I read that verse, man, that killed everything I could possibly think of and even breaking down the name. It was like, oh no, because that means that there's no nation on this earth where they're serving Yah, because they have not changed their gods. Help me out, somebody. Man, but anyway, where we at here? And we in Hebrews 4th chapter. And where we at? 9.
And that Hebrews, I'm in
4 and
7.
9.
Hebrews 4 and 9. There remain therefore a rest to the people of Elohim. For he that is entered into his rest, he also have ceased from his own works, as Elohim did from his.
Have we ceased from our works? Have we entered into his rest?
Nah,
Sure enough.
we still going.
Sure enough. Go ahead.
Let us labor therefore to enter into that rest.
Still got the what?
Got the
That kills Christianity main doctrine right there. Or as I wonder what the Christians think. Labor, work, let us labor, therefore to enter into that. We got to work into that rest, y'all. Man, that goes against everything in Christianity right there.
But they don't read those, do they?
Man.
They read one scripture anyway.
Uh-huh. John 3:16.
Like,
They still is.
some people I've talked to, like, I'll point out, not this specifically, but say, something like this. I'm like, these are things that go against Christianity.
Right.
But you play a part in it. Like, you call yourself a Christian, you say these names, and, stuff like that. You're like, well, I agree with what this says, but, I just say different names. I know we're talking about the same person, and the name really shouldn't matter at the end of the day. I know we're going towards the same person. And I just be like, I feel like just giving up after that. I'm like, bro, I can point these things out.
He's like, bro.
And it's like, I feel like
dumb.
I'm not being able to plant the seed when they go back and say stuff like that. It's just like, I know I'm not.
But
trying to
but the
correct
seed
right
but the
now.
seed is planted though. The seed, that's right. The seed is planted. Believe that. You might not believe it, but believe that.
It's out for the rejected.
Because every last one of y'all,
Big ground.
y'all done been exposed to truth before, but y'all didn't readily take to it. And if y'all think back to it, y'all think about, man, the first time I heard somebody say this. Am I right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Go ahead, huh?
And medicine
Right,
don't
right.
taste good either.
Huh?
Medicine don't
Right,
taste good either.
right. But you can recall back in the day, man, you a Sunday Christian, somebody told you about Sabbath, you read something about Sabbath, but yet it didn't really dawn on you, hit you the way it's supposed to hit you, so you let it pass. Then later on in life, you like, oh man. So and like on what she said, imagine dealing with Hebrews. Change their name, man. You know, my name was whatever, Joe or whatever, but I changed my name to Hezekiah or whatever. Because that slave name that they got wasn't good enough for them.
Yeah.
But I worship Jesus though. So you change your name.
That's so wild, man.
You
Cause
change-
I always remember, AJ,
Right,
when
yeah.
I was on you, bro. Like, bro, I can say Jesus, bro. That's his name.
He was
And they'll
doing that.
take your revelation and they'll say his name don't even matter anyway, because his name is the word of Most High.
Mm,
You know, I was on you so bad about that, bro.
right.
But they'll change. They sit up here.
But see, you just gave me an example right there. So you was told it, but you had an answer for it though.
You're right.
Right. And you was serious about that answer too. Couldn't be convinced otherwise. Yeah, I come from a place too to do that. Change your name, all these names I ain't never even heard of before, but they be wanting to call me by that name, but you can't call the Father and the Son by their name.
Dang.
Make that make sense.
Mixing sugar with sugar and
All right. Couple more places, y'all. We out. Isaiah 56 chapter. Chapter, and we're gonna start at the top, verse 1.
Isaiah 56. Isaiah 56, verse 1. Thus says Yahuwah, keep you judgment and do justice, for my salvation and my righteousness to be revealed. Blessed is the man that do this, and the son of man that lay hold on it, that keep the Shabbat from polluting it, and keep his hand from doing any evil. Neither let the son of the stranger that hath joined himself unto Yahuwah speak, saying, behold, I am a dry tree.
Y'all know how deep that third verse is, though? When you really think about it and examine it.
Neither let the son of the stranger that have joined himself to Yahuwah speak, saying, Yahuwah have utterly separated all me from his people. Neither.
See, the stranger understood. Andrea is not a stranger at all, but you was a stranger. And in your strangership, you understood that not that being away from the people is being away from Yah. Seriously, when from the people of the covenant, you are away from Yah. Let me give you a flip side of that. Let me give you, if you don't understand that now, you don't understand it. But the flip side also is that when the Father hid his eyes from the people, somebody want to finish that for me? When the Father have hid his eyes from the people, is his eyes hidden from us? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
They are.
yeah. That's part of the curse.
Right.
He said, I would hide my eyes from you. And I apologize for
That
throwing
means
that out there like
nobody.
that.
The word
But
can't
yeah,
see Yah.
his eyes are hid from us.
Right now?
Yeah,
Right now.
as a people.
As a people. As a
people,
nation.
As a nation, he done hid his eyes from us.
Right.
So what does that mean compared to individually?
Well, individually, you know, we are praying that the Father can see what's going
Right.
on with us, and he promised us certain things. Eyes, you will see all the many passages to let you know that the Father, as a nation, has hid his eyes from us as a people.
But there's always been a remnant. Always been a
Right,
remnant.
right, correct. But as the Father had hid his eyes from us, he have hid his eyes from the entire
From
world.
the world.
That's what people don't understand. See, look at the two things I'm saying. Strangers understood that to be absent from the people is to be absent from Yah.
That's right.
The stranger on the other end say if we can remove the people, then we remove Yah.
Right.
The Confederacy, that was their job. To remove us at the name of Yahshua, maybe no more remembrance. Get us up out the land. You removing Yah by removing the people. And that has worked. Because the Father said that he would hide his eyes from us. But the process is he done hid his eyes from the entire world. Because he didn't replace Israel with another people and say, okay, well, I'm going to talk to these people about. Nope. He tell us when he will no longer hide his eyes from us, and that's when he brings us back as a people and make that new covenant when they say, I will no longer hide myself from y'all at that appointed time.
Right.
But right now, we're in the clutches of us that know not Yah, that don't obey Yah, and all that. And he said, matter of fact, in one place, he said, I will hide my eyes from y'all and will see what your end shall be.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh?
So what does that like look like exactly? Hiding his eyes?
You turn your back on somebody. You don't want nothing to do with them. Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, whatever happens.
So like him being a shepherd over the whole nation, that he allowing the Gentiles to do what they doing to us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Us getting shot up in the street by the police.
Oh, like for
Finding
what
bodies.
happens to us.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, Satan controls all this.
Right.
He controls the entire world. That's why he was able to offer Yahshua what he offered him. And Yahshua didn't debate him about that because he knew that he owned the entire world because the Father, like I say, Job is the quintessential example if you want to know the whole dynamic of how the Father operates.
Right.
The Father had to hide his eyes from Job in order to give Satan a license to do with Job whatever he wanted to.
Satan took all Job's
I mean,
children.
yeah, I'm sorry. Satan took all Job's children out. That was the beginning of his despair. But that's what happens when the Father have hid his eyes from us. You know, again, like,
Does he still hear us?
huh?
Does he still hear us?
Individually.
Individually, okay.
Well, we talking about as a nation, right?
Cynthia.
Uh-huh.
When I think of,
Watch.
because when I think about it, when we have this, you know, when he established a covenant with us, he delivered us out of it. Those people didn't ask for it, you know what I mean? They didn't come to him and seek him, but he delivers and he established a covenant and we agreed upon it. Now, because of our disobedience, we have broken that covenant with him. So of course he hid his face. But if y'all always says that you seek me, then you will find me.
Good,
So
good.
now we at this point, whereas we are seeking him. We actually reading the Bible, we seeking his word. It's almost like a conversation. So I look at us, me seeking him and reading his word, I'm looking for him to speak to me.
Right.
As I'm praying, it's like me speaking to the Father.
Right.
But it's always asking him for increased knowledge and understanding. And with that increased knowledge and understanding, then the Father is going to be amongst us. Just like they say when we pray, when it's like two more of us, the Father would be, there.
In the midst.
Two more gathered. So it's almost seeking him. So that's what he
Right.
wants. He wants, instead of him trying to pull us in, which we became, it's like that tug and pull, and we turned our backs. He said, no, you're going to have to come to me now.
That part.
Wow.
That part.
Better speak, poet.
That
But
part.
it's good because in a way, it like the weeks and the tail when we separate through that. Because some people ain't even want to seek him.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because what used to happen was it would be enforcing in a sense. And now it's like, okay,
Right.
I'm not going to force you because I did it
Right.
for this long.
Sure enough.
I only want those who really want it.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's well, any relationship, it was very one-sided. Our relationship with the Most High is very one-sided. It's almost like he was like always constantly. It's like catering to a spoiled child. Come on, come on, come on, come on. And the child eventually like, you know what, forget it. I'm done. I can't no more. You out there now.
Because like going through the book of Judges and Samuel, and I haven't even finished Samuel, it was like 6 or 7 times they turned it back on.
Yeah.
Just in those 2 books alone.
Yeah. But that's what the whole tribulation is for. See, when we were in Egypt, our ancestors were in Mizraim, the tribulation made them cry out with one voice. That same thing is going to happen again.
Right, true that.
It's going to make
True
us
that.
all cry out with one
True
voice.
that.
That's what's going to make the Most High see
True
and
that.
hear us again. That's
Now, I
the
have
only
a question,
thing.
and this is for like the future. After the second coming and everything gets sorted out, do you believe that this will all start all over again? Because it stated that a generation that did not know the works of Yahuwah transgress against him. Given that there will be generations after us who did not know the works, would it all happen all over again?
No, because reason why? Because those who didn't believe, who believed in Satan, they're gonna be cast into the lake of fire. So, you're gonna be in the kingdom, let them be right there. For the example of those who don't want to follow me, that's your damnation. So all this not gonna happen.
Of those
What you
who
mean?
I think that question too big for our human minds
I
anyway.
think
But
I was
those,
gonna say
those,
that,
those
yeah.
who don't know at the time, they're gonna be judged according to their works.
To the worst, yeah.
One thing about the Father's gracious, the Father's merciful.
Yes.
Because any people that don't know Yah, guess what? It's because of us that they don't know Yah.
The blood is on our hands.
Oh, the blood is on our hand
Oh,
as
man.
a nation.
Wow.
So they're gonna be judged according to their works in that second resurrection. But again, when that time, even at the first resurrection, we all gonna know the Father. We all gonna know the Son. Huh? Say it again?
Judgment starts at
Oh yeah,
my house.
judgment definitely. It begins and ends with
At his
us.
house. Yeah,
But,
it's
I
us.
always think about like how he has known the ending from the beginning.
Right.
And it's just like, I know to me it's like so small how heartbreaking it may seem, like from what you actually practically experience. Like that's heartbreaking to know, like to do so much, and then like you knew all this was gonna happen from the beginning of this creation.
Right.
Right.
You knew that his seed wasn't going to, grow into the garden that you imagined it to be or expected it to be, or that you deserved it to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I'm the one doing the heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Where we at in this passage?
Let's see, for let's say Yahuwah to the units. Verse 5. Even Isaiah 56 and 5, even unto them will I give in my house and within my walls a place and a name better than of sons and of daughters. I will give them an everlasting name that shall not be cut off.
You know what? I think you might have skipped over the 4th verse.
I really did, sure did, huh? Verse 4, for thus said Yahuwah unto the units that keep my Shabbats and choose the things that please me and take hold of my
The
covenant.
covenant, man. You ain't got no part in it if you ain't keeping the Shabbat. That's why you put them right there just like that.
Dang.
Because the eunuchs was obviously doing something different from the Shabbats. But when they take hold of the covenant, you keeping the Shabbat. Whatever you call it, old covenant, new covenant, I call it the foundational covenant.
Right.
Because that's exactly what it is. The Shabbat is a big part of that covenant. Without the Shabbat, you ain't got no covenant. Go ahead.
5, even unto them will I give in my house and within my walls a place and a name better than of sons and of daughters. I will give them an everlasting name that shall not be cut
That
off.
sounded to me like a non-Israelite right there too. He's talking about, I will give in my house a name which is better, a place better than of sons and of daughters. I will give them an everlasting name that shall not be cut off.
Because the sons and the daughters will be Israel, right?
Right, yeah, that's how I
That's like
understand.
in Proverbs when it said a wise servant shall have rule over, or some, how they go? A wise servant shall be in a better position than an actual son or something like that.
Okay.
I can't remember that.
Uh-huh.
Something like- Yeah, that,
Pretty much.
All right.
something
Verse,
all up.
Verse 6.
Right.
Also the sons of the stranger that join themselves to
Ain't no
Yahuwah.
stranger can join themselves to Yah. What version of the Bible you read?
Man,
Go ahead.
you say also the sons of the stranger that join themselves to Yahuwah to serve him and to love the name of Yahuwah,
What?
to be his servants. Everyone that keep the Shabbat from polluting it and taking hold of my covenant. Even them will I bring to my holy mountain and make them joyful in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and their sacrifice shall be accepted upon, shall be called in house of prayer for all people.
So that son of a stranger is going to find joy in the house of Yah?
Even them.
Wow. Go ahead.
Hey, Yahuwah Elohim, which gathered the outcasts of Yasharel, say, yet will I gather others to him beside those.
So that right there is why we're here, y'all. We're here so that we can gather Gentiles. And are we not the outcasts of Yashrael?
Yes, we are.
Nobody debating that, right? How you think these Gentiles come into the truth? By joining themselves to the people, to the covenant people.
Dang.
That's how. When Ruth didn't say, well, I'm going to stay in my own land in Moab, but I'm going to serve Yah right here in Moab. That ain't what she said. She said, hey, I got to leave this land. I'm going with my mother-in-law. Your people should be my people, and your Elohim should be my Elohim. That is the understanding. Join yourself to the people of the covenant. That's like something that most people don't even understand how important the people of the covenant are. But the scriptures let you know how important from Genesis to Revelation. They knew that by joining themselves to the people, that they are also partaking of the covenant. It was a very difficult thing to just think you could sit in your own land while everybody else serving something else, and then I serve Yah. That's you asking for misery right there. If I knew right now, I got my passport right now. If I knew that there was any nation on the face of this earth that was subject to Yah, I'd be going there right now. I would be going there right now.
But it ain't.
But it ain't. There is not a nation on this earth that say our Elohim is Yah, and they absolutely following his laws, statutes, and commandments.
Dang.
Okay?
You know,
Huh?
to say something when it comes to that. I think that the whole world has some very minimal understanding of that. Because why does it seem like almost every president goes to Jerusalem? They know that there's a significance when it comes to Jerusalem, but I know that we receive because, of course, those that are in there are not supposed to, right? But I think that people have some understanding of history and the significance of it. But it's, you know, the whole truth, you know, there's not.
I feel that.
I think that
I
from a
don't think-
rudimentary dynamic, there's what you call an understanding. But I think from the underlying conspiracy of it, Israel, as the state of Israel as is this, it represents the total achievement of the Confederacy.
And that's what I'm saying, they understand the significance of the play.
Oh, from that aspect.
From that aspect.
Oh, okay. I thought you
Yeah.
meant from some kind of a righteous type of
No,
aspect.
no.
Oh, well, yeah,
They
we.
understand the significance
Right.
of the place.
You're absolutely correct.
I was finna say they ain't going to the land, and they going to the state of Israel. Like they ain't worried about what the land talking about already.
Yeah, but
They were.
yeah.
They enchantment with
It's
the
more
beast.
of a mockery too to Israel anyway.
Oh yeah.
Right. Right. Absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. Because they know that what they're looking at is a man-made dynamic that they was able to achieve and has the whole world deceived by that dynamic. Okay? Finally, we're gonna close out with Ezekiel, the 20th chapter.
We done with,
I told you it was in this lesson. We started at the top. Uh-huh.
Come
Man, this
on.
Ezekiel
All
20
right,
is
break it
so
down.
exhaustive because it covers so much stuff, man. It covers the past, the present, the future. Ezekiel 20 is all. Let's start that from the top.
Ezekiel 20 from the top. And it came to pass in the 7th year, in the 5th month, the 10th day of the month, that certain of the elders of Yasharel came to inquire of Yahuwah and sat before Ezekiel. Then came the word of Yahuwah unto him, saying, Son of man, speak unto the elders of Yasharel, and say it to them, Thus said Yahuwah Elohim, Are you come to inquire of me? As I live, said Yahuwah Elohim, I will not be inquired of by you.
Now, here's the thing, y'all. As wicked as these elders are, I had to give these elders credit. Because elders today, you can tell them that Yah is not dealing with them. But at least these elders knew that Father ain't dealing with us. We need to go to somebody that's living a whole lot better than we living. Because we ain't righteous enough. We ain't going to call on the Father. He's going to answer us because we're not righteous enough. So I got to give them a little credit. They knew to go to the man that the Father was dealing with and inquire of the Father through that man. Them cats might have hated Ezekiel with all their heart, but they couldn't deny his relationship with the Most High. I just think that's a deep thing, because we're not smart enough to see it the same way. Ain't that deep or not? Y'all ever thought about that? Go ahead.
Verse 4. Without judge them, son of man, without judge them, cause them to know the abominations of their fathers.
The Father's telling Ezekiel, don't even play games with these guys. Don't even allow them to think that they're on the same level as you. Straight up. Because, in our righteousness, we don't want to be too hard on these cats. And we want to, not, exalt ourselves. But the truth is the truth. Father telling his servant, look, are you going to judge them? Come on. I don't want you to give them nothing except for them to be judged. Let them know how wicked they are, okay? Don't even make them think that they're on the same level with you. Ain't that deep? That's what the Father's telling Ezekiel. Ezekiel might have been on a whole other level, like, man, they come. These polite brothers came to me and asked about y'all. Ain't nothing polite about them. I want you to one Western. Call them out. Cry loud and spare not. Show these idiots they transgressions. That's what I'm telling you to do. Go ahead.
And I say unto them, verse 5, Thus said Yahuwah Elohim, in the day when I chose Israel, and lifted up my hand unto the seed of the house of Yaakov.
Pause for a second. The way that the Father speaks is so profound. He will talk to you right now, and you want to know something about something present. Before he even did you anything presently, he trying to put something on your mind. I want you to understand something from day one. 2,000 years, 3,000 years ago, and you in your mind think, I wasn't even there 3,000 years ago. But no, this is you. This is you. This is how the Father's talking to them. Start that again.
And I say unto them, Thus said Yahuwah Elohim, in the day when I chose Israel, when I chose you, and lifted up my hand into the seed of the house of Yaakov, and made myself known unto you in the land of Mizraim, when I lifted up my hand unto you, saying, I am Yahuwah, your Elohim. In the day that I lifted up my hand unto them, to bring them forth of the land of Mizraim into a land that I had spied for them, flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all the lands. Then said I unto them,
You know them wicked cats in there, like, come on, get to the point.
You know,
I wasn't even there. Come on, please.
it's like
get
listening to
the
your
point.
grandfather and be like, come on.
Right,
come on,
right.
come
That's
on.
right.
Take it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But go ahead.
going through the whole shebang.
Right.
Me, not hearkening to me. They did not every man cast away the abomination of their eyes. Neither did they forsake the idols of Mizraim. Dang, they did. They were doing Mizraim stuff all in the wilderness. Then I said, I will pour out my fury upon them to accomplish my anger against them in the midst of the land of Mizraim. But I wrought for my name's sake that I should not be polluted before the heathen, among whom they were, in whose sight I made myself known to them, and bringing them forth out of the land of Mizraim. That's so sad to me to hear that, bro.
That's right. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. You want to expound on that?
No, I'm just thinking about how the Most High would have felt. Like, I can't believe I did all this for these people.
Right.
Then now I'm finna get ready to smack y'all, but dang, I can't do it in front of these folks, because these folks see what I done did for y'all.
And we got to thank these Mizraimites because they saved our lives
Dang.
unintentionally. But if it wasn't for them, the Father say, you know how you be somewhere and your wife backed up on you, you give your wife the eye, you like, boy, you better be glad. No, I'm just but that's the same thing, though. What, you know, but your children know what I'm talking about, though. You know, like, man, if it wasn't in no trouble.
Yeah,
Right!
bro.
Or what's the name said? Her stand up white people watching. Remember she said that? You better not act up, white people.
But that's exactly what he's saying, though.
Yeah.
When you were saying, going back to your point,
Uh-huh.
when Yosef went into Mizraim and be taken in to the Pharaoh, if it had not been for him being there for what's the name?
To prophesy the famine.
The famine, we would have been wiped out too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like going back to that, just going
Yeah.
way, way, way back.
Yeah.
But
And
right
so-
here, right here, he was definitely referring to like Passover. Like,
Yeah.
we came out in the sight of what happened in Mizraim, and
And they got their butt kicked.
yeah.
Right.
But
Got their butt kicked for these wicked people. Yeah, I dare you.
Right.
That's what they said. Exactly.
Mm.
You could have just made us a covenant people.
All
We done
right.
did. We done did better than either.
Oh yeah.
Dang,
Right.
these niggards, like the rock say. Oh man, oh Lord. But then let's see. Hey, verse 10. Wherefore I caused them to go forth out of the land of Mizraim and brought them into the wilderness. Gave them my statutes and showed them my judgments, which if a man do, he shall even live in them. He gonna live. Moreover, also I gave them my Shabbats to be a sign between me and them, that they might know that I'm Yahuwah that sanctify them.
That part.
But the house of Yasharel rebelled against me in the wilderness. They walk not and despise my judgments, which if a man do, he shall even live in them. With these judgments, and my Shabbats they greatly polluted. Then I said, I will pour out my fear upon them in the wilderness to consume them.
Knock them all out.
You finna get smacked.
Stand aside, Shemaiah. I will make seed out of you. So now shall we go through that part. Go ahead.
14. But I wrought for my name's sake that I should not be polluted before the heathen, in whose sight I brought them out. Yet also I lifted up my hand unto them in the wilderness, that I would not bring them into the land which I had given them, flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all land. Because they despised my judgments and walked not in my statutes, but polluted my Shabbats, for their heart went after their idols. Nevertheless, mine eye spared them from destroying them, Neither did I make an end of them in the wilderness.
Shemaiah, baby, all day long.
Mm-hmm. Still here.
Single-handedly.
Hey.
Well, if you take these people out, huh? Block me out of that book of life. Man, that's some intercession right there.
That part, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
That's right.
Hey, man, thank you, bro.
That's right.
Yeah, thank you, bro.
That's right. Oh, we literally would not be here right now. Literally.
He paid
All
for
of
that,
us
though.
have an ancestor that was right there, that's supposed to have been wiped out.
That meat man, I can't believe he said that.
That's right. That's right.
And
That's
we,
right.
and we end up
That's
being the
right.
reason why he didn't go in.
That's what I was saying.
Which is
We
why
were.
we pray to forgive, ask Abba and Yah to
Right.
forgive our forefathers.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
We
Leviticus
vexed
26.
him so bad.
Dang. So he spared us and then turned around. Verse 18 said, "But I said unto their children in the wilderness, walk you not in the statutes of your fathers, neither observe their judgment, nor defile yourselves with their
How many
idols."
times did we read that just today?
Too many.
Huh?
Too
At least
many.
4.
At least. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing.
And we still don't listen to. We still don't listen to
They go back to one of your class like four Shabbats from now. Back then you said, is it better to be an Israelite
That's
or
right.
a servant of Yah?
Or serving of Yah.
That's
right.
But
Serving
we
of
think it's
Yah.
one and the same.
And they not.
It ain't one and the same.
19. I am Yahuwah your Elohim. Walk in my statutes and keep my judgments and do them. And hallow my Shabbats in spirit of lesson. And they shall be a sign between me and you, that you may know that I am Yahuwah your Elohim. Notwithstanding, the children rebelled against me too. They walked not in my statutes, neither kept my judgment to do them. Which if a man do, he shall even live in them. They polluted my Shabbat. Then I said, I will pour out my fury upon them to accomplish my anger against them in the wilderness. Nevertheless, I withdrew my hand and wrought for my name's sake that it should not be polluted in the sight of the heathen, in whose sight I brought them forth so many times.
So imagine the self-control.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that we should be trying to be in that tight tempers too, though. Yeah. For real.
Right.
Slow to anger, dang.
Quick to quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger.
23, no cap. I lifted up my hand unto them also in the wilderness, that I would scatter them among the heathen and disperse them through the countries.
Ain't that something? Now, that's mercy too. Because first he's like, oh, I'm taking y'all out. Y'all ain't got to worry about the heathen. Heathen won't even know y'all ever existed.
Right.
But now he's like, you know what? I know I got something better than taking y'all out. Because I got to keep the covenant of your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So therefore, go ahead.
24. Because they had not executed my judgments, but had despised my statutes, and had polluted my Shabbats, and their eyes went after their fathers' idols. Wherefore I gave them also statutes that were not good, and judgments whereby they should not live.
What do you mean by that? Somebody help me out with that.
I don't want to say what I
It's
want to
almost
say.
like giving you over to a reprobate mind, or giving you over to
That's
whatever.
kind of close.
Man, you know what I want to say? No, go ahead. Go ahead. You go.
They kids.
Well, you hit on what I'm finna say, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Look, Cypher, look though. That's what I was speaking on too. Like,
Uh-huh.
I think the first fruit. And it said if you ain't had the money to pay the priest, you had to bring your child, your firstborn child, so they can kill you. And
In Leviticus 23.
Right.
And Deuteronomy 16, I believe. Yeah.
Who did that?
Redeem your
Levi's
child.
sons?
He talking about for Pentecost and first fruit, Bakawa. Yeah, you had to
Yeah,
redeem
I
your
have to
child.
revisit that one. You have to look that one up for me.
Oh
But
yeah,
I'm saying, I'm asking you though, would that be, if we was thinking about the Creator who told us thou shalt not kill,
Murder.
wouldn't that be contrary to him, like, saying that to say, oh, go ahead and sacrifice him? That's like him, y'all want to eat their flesh, go ahead, bro.
Right.
Talk about your faith then.
Well, see, the thing is, we can't, Father don't put on us what applies to him. because he tells us not to abhor Edom. But the Father got a whole different dynamic concerning Edom.
Right, okay.
Does that make sense?
No, they do.
So, but you want to say something more on?
No, I was about saying what he was saying. When he said he gave you statute that were not good for you and statute that you would not live, some of them things we saw other nations around us killing their children, sacrificing their children. And so in a situation like Jephthah, who he was like I spoke on last time, he knew that people was sacrificing their children. So when he said, I'm gonna sacrifice the first thing that come up to me after that. And I already knew he was talking about his daughter, bro.
Right.
And so he ended up doing the same thing. He had to be held to that. The Most High was like, I bet, that's what you want to do? Come on. That was an example of me giving you a statute that was not good for you.
I think,
If
well,
that's the case, that would be the, when they were keeping that covenant that he made, like when you were doing the next on the covenants and stuff.
Right.
When you make a different promise, if you, the oath. You had made an oath with the Most High, so if you're doing that, you had to keep it, right?
what I think it is, I think that the statutes and judgments in this instance are kind of like one and the same, which were not good. Because he gave us the commandments. He didn't give us judgments. Judgments and sacrifice come through sin. If you're keeping the commandments and you enjoying doing the commandments, you are not under the law. But now he had to put the judgments, which are also statutes, which were not good. Not good for us mean what? Death, punishment. So that's right. So this is what he's talking about.
Oh, okay.
Your wickedness required me to give judgments and statutes that go with them judgments against y'all.
So are
which
you-
you wouldn't even have to deal with if you'd have been obedient in the first place.
But I'm saying, if you saying, okay, that means previous to this, if you would have broke a law, then he gonna give you a judgment that was good for you?
How's it again?
No, I was speaking. No, go ahead. Say what you
No,
said.
I'm saying, if that's the case, he's saying that I'm finna give you something that is not good for you as a judgment. Are you saying previous to him saying this, if you broke a law, that means he gonna give you something that is good for you as a judgment?
No. The point is that you are, that's contrary. So therefore, you got statutes and judgments based off of your wickedness.
Here's the context, that we read here says, because they had not.
Okay, now what verse you at?
Okay, same one, 24 and 25.
Okay.
Sound like answering each other.
Okay.
All right, just read it. Because they had not executed my judgment, but had despised my statutes and polluted my Sabbaths, and all, and their eyes were, and they followed idols, I gave them also statutes that was not good. I would assume penalties for them not doing the judgment.
That's it.
So statutes
That's
being
it.
penalty?
Yes, some statutes are penalties. So in other words, like when somebody, this is on a whole nother thing, somebody say, bro, you keep all the 613 laws. Well, are judgments part of those 613 laws? Huh? But then if you're not being disobedient, I'm not, no, I don't keep that judge because I'm not under it. It's not subject to me. Some of the 613, of course, were priestly statutes and judgments. That don't apply to you. Some of them were for women. That don't apply to you. Some of them
You
were
can't get
just,
held accountable for a law you didn't break.
right. That's
The law and the
correct.
judgment is still there.
Right,
No,
but
what
you
made-
can't, huh?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What made me come to the conclusion though, in 24, it say, in their eyes were after their father's idols, like, they're talking about, okay, this what y'all wanted. So it had to be some idolatry that they wanted to get those bad judgments. So I'm trying to see what did our fathers want, like.
But see,
Right.
but like, just like what he simply
Right.
pointed out, what Yosef simply pointed out was that the laws were given to you guys, to the Constitution. But just like it clearly says, because you despise that. Because you despise that. If you had to despise that, then the second part would not have existed. I gave you statutes and judgments that were not good. For you, they were not good. That's just like when you go into, on another side note, Colossians, the 2nd chapter, where Paul talking to the Gentile, and he says, what's that? Colossians 2:11. When he make this statement, Christians don't understand what it means. He told them, so y'all know what I'm talking about. Colossians 2:11, I think, when he says,
Talking about judging you and
oh, in 14, when he said, blotting out the handwriting, the voices that was against us, which was contrary to us, and took it out the way, nailing it to the cross. It's the same ordinance as he's talking about with us back then. Because what ordinance did he blot out that was contrary to them, that he took it out the way, nailing it to the cross?
Sin and death.
Huh?
Sin and death.
It's sin and death. It's death. Not the commandments of the law,
Right.
but your judgment for breaking the commandments of
Women. And it led to death.
that's all I was saying
And kids
too.
They did kids, but also to women. It actually said women. I'm sorry, I just lost it. Jeremiah, what did I say? Jeremiah.
32.
32. Sorry. Yeah, where's it? 32, 35. And it said, and it reads, did I say 32? Oh, 35.
32 and 35?
Yeah, 32 and 35.
Okay.
And it reads, and they built the high place of Baal, which are in the valley of the sons of Hinnom, to cause their sons and their daughters, yeah, you did say that, to pass through the
Right.
border to Molech, which I commanded them not. Neither came into my mind that they should do this abominable to, to cause Yahudah to sin. So if you look at it, that is death itself. So, when it says in that first 5 that they should not live. So he just,
Mhm.
the Father has also, he can, he has the authority, to allow you to live or, to survive,
Mm-hmm.
You like to smoke.
Yeah, because that's what you want.
You want to smoke?
That's
Give me the keys.
yeah, and that's the point I was trying to make too, for sure. He just gave you over to that, and that's what you were trying to do. And our people were seeing that going around. Everybody was sacrificing their children, doing this around there.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I bet you go ahead and do that then.
Right.
And to this day, we still think that that's a form of serving and worshiping God. Like,
Giving
you
them
ask
blood or
somebody-
something?
Yeah, you ask somebody, if y'all tell you to go kill your first son right now, would you do it? They'll say, yeah. Because our people is stupid.
Because they
But
want,
y'all,
they
but y'all
want
will cause him
fame.
to do that though. He'll also cause you to do that. He'll also cause
Would
you-
he?
That's
If he
why
said,
He'll
thou
cause you
shalt
to
not.
believe that, because he'll change your thinking and cause you to believe that.
Oh, yeah, like, bro,
Yeah.
He will do that.
That's what you want to do.
That's what he wanted, our own desires. Right.
we don't know our
Oh.
own.
What is it?
No, I'm just saying, so what's the characteristic
Shit,
of the
man.
Most High? 'Cause I don't think he want blood, like.
But that's
Yeah.
part of it.
I don't
That's
think
a part
he
of
will.
developing an intimate relationship. Yeah.
Mm.
Which is necessary, It's knowing
By the spirit, by the spirit.
But I like how you you made the point about that's part of him hiding his eyes from us.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know what? I ain't even got to kill these people. They're gonna kill their own
Kill
selves.
themselves.
Definitely. And I was thinking about that when we
Ain't that what the
were
powers
reading
that be say right now?
Mhm. Right. That's right. That's right.
Because he gave up. I gave up to the
Right.
kingdoms of their own heart, the lust of their own heart. I
Mhm.
gave up and I helped him.
But let's believe he's still gonna hold us accountable.
Oh, yeah.
And there are times of ignorance he winked at, but then he commands us all to repent. So even though he gives us over to some of our lusts, he's still gonna hold us accountable.
Tell him to speak, poet.
Okay.
Speak for it. But look though,
Oh,
this is what
no.
I'm speaking on though. Like, y'all teach us how to be a man, cause guess what? He ain't use his violence against us. He like, man, I'm gonna think of another way. Cause that's what a man do. We rationally think. Like, so he said, all right, we just scattered them. But he ain't use violence. That's an irrational, impulsive trait that he didn't.
Right,
show.
right.
But sometimes men think, oh yeah, if you go off on somebody, you're being a man, or you try to fight somebody.
But
you're
really,
being a
it's
man. No,
sassy.
That's
Right.
sassy. Because sassy princess
Zesty boy, you a princess.
Exercising your emotions.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
self-control.
Wow.
Self-control that was exuded.
That's a Selah moment, boy.
Yeah, for sure.
Y'all did not act out his emotions.
He almost, but he had to think over like.
Yeah.
Y'all
no, Shemaiah had to remind him. You remember he was about to kill us.
Yeah, for sure.
He was angry.
And that's why Shemaiah paid for that though. He paid for
Y'all
that.
so poetic, bro.
Seriously. I feel bad for Shemaiah every time I think about that because all of our leaders have gotten so. I get frustrated with our people. So I think about Yahshua even said, "How long do I have to suffer with you?" The Messiah
And see, and again,
said
so
that.
that's what we're saying, because in Father's case, it'd be so simple for me to do it because one thing about y'all is that as long as y'all live and breathe, I'm gonna be mad as I don't know what. And I'm saying I got a whole lesson on that. I can't even. I'm paraphrasing, think straight because y'all still exist. But when it comes to y'all the way it comes, he says, then shall I be comforted.
Yep.
Father seek to be comforted. The only way you can be comforted is through our destruction.
The way I rejoiced over you to do
Ezekiel
you
4,
good,
right.
I shall
That's a whole
rejoice
lesson.
over you
That's a
for
whole
your
lesson.
You know
destruction.
what's so funny? She keeps saying, you keep talking about Shemaiah. I ain't gonna think about Aaron. He's supposed to be, his seed must be the high priest. So I'm looking like, he allowed that
Yeah.
while Shemaiah was in the
Yeah.
temple.
Right.
He allowed them to.
Allow, he was the one that made it. He the one that did it.
Yeah.
But he was scared though.
Yeah.
Scared?
Yeah.
I be hearing people say that, but I don't understand, like, how much scared can you be? You gotta think about it. Bro, we spent over 400 years in the United States, but just imagine okay, a few years ago, 400 years. Them having 400 years in Mizraim, boy, they got the Mizraim swag all on them. They can't get it off of them, bro.
Yeah.
Just like if we go to another country right now, we still can't help how we talk and how we gonna be one to dress and stuff like that.
Mindset.
The sling and the
So
mindset.
Aaron was no different. He was an idol maker in Mizraim, a metal worker.
And
He
so
did the
that's
same
why
thing
he
with
went
me.
back. He went back this job.
He was comfortable doing.
Yeah.
Plasticity was stuck in Egypt.
Right. I don't think he was scared. Well, nobody in the whoop his
But
tail was.
I think there is a scripture that alludes to the fact of the fear that he had that caused him to do that. But we know that that's our history period. That when it come down to the mass, man, when you represent Yah, boy, you know that your whole dynamic is in danger. That's like from day one. So
Now we gotta talk about what type fear. Was it a fear like or was it a fear of respect? Like how we supposed to fear the Most High? Cause he could have been like, oh, bro.
So people were looking to him because they're like, Shemaiah ain't come down yet.
right. So it was some earthly fear that he
Yeah.
was dealing with. I gotta find the verse that talks about that. I think I read that before concerning that.
Because it was just him and Shemaiah. I mean, everybody was against him. At least when Shemaiah was there, he had his strength in numbers. Him there by himself, he like, oh snap. It's this even if you think about it, even what's the name? Solomon said, "Give me wisdom so that I could deal with this people."
Right.
Because he
True
knew
that.
how strong they were.
Right, and that's a good point.
So-
So when our people is on that one road, man, look, they will do you in. Shoot, that's probably the reason why. That's the reason why Abraham was shocked when he heard about Sodom. He like, you mean tell me my nephew Lot over there sitting on his butt? Yeah, he was sitting on his butt because he said the scripture said that the conversation of them Sodomites vexed them on a daily basis.
Vexed them.
So what can you do? You can't reason with an unreasonable spirit. He knew that the whole dynamic of Yah to them people was like poison in their ears.
Yeah.
And then what? The angels come and they like knocking on the door like, man, we need a taste of that.
Yeah.
That's wicked on a whole nother level. To the point that they were gonna break his whole house down. Just to get man. See, like I said, we read the words, but we don't be comprehending the level of intensity that we read it. So Aharon, oh, absolutely.
What they say? What they say? You got some fresh meat in the town.
Man,
It's like a
boy.
vampire type of spirit, like
Right.
fresh blood. Or
Right.
something. That's
Absolutely.
evil. That's evil.
Absolutely.
Right, it's a,
Dang.
yeah, it's like an evil
Yeah.
You gotta think of the evil that's being combated.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Them people were not, they were our people we weren't gonna rest until we got what we wanted.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's finish this out.
26. And I polluted them in their own gifts, and that they caused to pass through the fire. All that opened the
See, so
womb.
you already read this, Cynthia.
Yeah, when you all read it, you read it, right? Did you read it?
Well, you read it in Jeremiah. Jeremiah 32 you was in. Go ahead.
And I polluted them in their own gifts, and that they caused to pass through the fire all that opened the womb, that I might make them desolate to the end that they might know that I am Yahuwah.
So 26 is kind of answering that question there of 25. Uh-huh.
Which I still be having question about Jeff Ty. 27. Therefore, son of man, speaking to the house of Yasharel, and saying to them, thus said Yahuwah Elohim, yet in this your fathers have blasphemed me, in that they have committed a trespass against me, and brought them into the land for the which I lifted up my hand to give it to them. Then they saw every high hill and all the thick trees, and they offered their sacrifice. And there they presented the provocation of their offering. There also they made their sweet savor and poured out their drink offering. Poured out their drink offerings. Then I said unto them, what is the high place whereunto? And the name thereof is called Bamah unto this day. You gotta look that word up.
Nah, you finna get into some deep stuff right here, man.
Now, we're reading this because, you know, you all want to read, but my point in this is showing about how we, kept messing up on the Sabbath. So we can finish this.
30. Wherefore saying to the house of Yasharel, thus said Yahuwah.
Y'all don't think Alabama every time y'all see that word? Because I do.
What, Bamah?
Yep. Bama.
Oh, Lord, I ain't see it. Now I see it.
Yeah, Bama. The only thing that's absent is Elohim or Elohim.
Dang, we ain't got that there.
Allah before you got Alabama, but go ahead.
30. Wherefore,
Bama.
Elohim, Allah Akbar. 30. Wherefore saying to the house of Yasharel, there said Yahuwah Elohim, are you polluted after the manner of your fathers, and commit you whoredom after their abominations? For when you offer your gifts, when you make us pass through the fire, you pollute yourselves with all your idols, even unto this day. And shall I be inquired of by you, O house of Israel? As I live, say Yahuwah Elohim, I will not be inquired of by you. And that which come into your mind shall not be at all, that you say, we will be as the heathen, as the families of the country, to serve stone. As I live, say Yahuwah Elohim, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out, will I rule over you. And I will bring you out from the people, and will gather you out of the country wherein you are scattered, with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I meet you face to face. Look at that. Ooh. Face to face.
It's prophetic.
Yep.
36. And like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Mizraim, so will I plead with you, said Yahuwah Elohim.
Oh, was that a question that you asked just now?
Wait, nah, it kind of
A statement.
A rhetorical question?
Rhetorical, right. Yeah, okay, just making sure.
I was there talking.
37.
Same thing.
Yeah, definitely.
And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant.
That's the covenant.
Limbo.
We ain't got there yet. We have not gotten there yet, y'all.
Talking about Jeremiah 31,
That's
33.
right. That new covenant, we ain't got there yet.
Very prophetical. 38. And I will purge out from among you the rebels.
Okay, so look. This is the scripture I be using. Okay, so when it said I will purge out among you the rebels, how is it gonna look when we get into the wilderness, or if we're in the wilderness now?
This lets you know we're not in the wilderness because see, I
Okay.
will bring you out of the land.
Okay, so when we going to the land, it's gonna be the wheats and tares there, huh?
Mm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Because a lot of us is speaking in terms of now trying to make it over there because of what's going on here in America right now.
Okay, you're right.
Trying to make it over there, and some of them that's talking about it, they may not be on the same level.
I ain't gonna say the land though, cause it's really saying the wilderness. The context 36, when he bring you to the wilderness, plead with you face to face.
Right, it's not the land of Israel. He
Yeah.
said land, but you know it's not Israel that's talking about. Because just like in the day when we were in the wilderness, we wasn't in the land.
Okay, we were in Israel.
Right.
So that would make me, that are we not in the wilderness now? But like,
Mm-hmm.
wherever
Okay,
we are
okay,
in the
okay, so
forever-
look, you got 3 places you looking at right here.
Okay.
It says 36. No, 34. I will bring you out from the people and will gather you out of the countries wherein you were scattered.
Okay.
You see that?
Ah.
Right, okay. And with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm, which we report out. So let's go where you at, right?
37, I
Right.
believe. And I will cause you to pass on the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. And I will purge out from among you the rebels, and them that transgress against me. I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel.
Ooh.
Yes.
So that ain't this. So
Well-
that's 3 different places you read about.
Said it ain't the wilderness.
Right.
It ain't Israel.
Right.
Yeah.
The wilderness is not in Israel.
Right.
Right.
And it's not in the where we are now.
Okay.
Right.
So, right.
So if we want to put it in some type of way, this one when we get to Africa.
Okay, so.
Or maybe it's just talking about wherever we are, he's gonna.
It's a whole nother lesson, y'all.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it is.
I
But
got
It's another place.
Yeah.
Right.
It can't be.
I'm just saying, so we can visualize something. If we were to go the route that we came, boom. Let's say we in Lagos, Nigeria. This is the place where the records out before we actually go into Yasharel.
Scripture, I'm gonna let you know, scripture gonna let us know that the wilderness is the same place the wilderness was when we was in the wilderness originally.
Oh.
That's the wilderness. I got a whole lesson on
So
that.
about Mount, what the area somebody said
Mount
last week?
Sinai?
Remember you said sin. You said the little area.
Right, wilderness of sin, right.
It's a sin.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Correct. That's,
You gonna do that lesson after this lesson?
huh?
We call that-
I got an old version of it on the YouTube channel.
Good that you showed me that.
It's on YouTube.
Let's make them work.
That was what they call the wilderness of sin.
Right,
Crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
right. That's correct. Go ahead.
38. And I will purge out from among you the rebels and them that transgress against me. I will bring them forth for the 39. That's for you, O house of Yasharel. Thus said Yahuwah Elohim. Go you, serve you every one of your little idols.
There you go.
And hereafter also. Hey, but if you were not hearkening to me, you know you gonna do that. But pollute you my holy name no more with your gifts and with your idols. Dang. So I wondered how many gifts and idols that we be offering, think we giving it to the Most High and putting his name on it, but it ain't really what he want.
Mm.
Like what this verse saying. He said, take my name out of whatever you think
Right.
you doing.
That's right.
That's scary right there.
Yeah.
Dang.
You talking about some Jesus, or you saying a heresy of certain? Cause I'm just so mad about the situation I was in 12:30. The new moon was this, like we trying to offer up a new thing, like
That ain't it.
Man, I'm speaking more in terms of people who know better. It people out here using the name of yo hey why hey to put they do all kind of craziness, bro.
Right.
And you know, saying he said this and that when he ain't really said. Matter of fact, chapter 22, what we had read earlier, said that. Like the priests and the prophets and the princes said things that he most I ain't never said, bro. And people out here right now in the name of yo hey why hey doing
Right.
stuff in his name, but he ain't
Right.
had nothing to do with that
Right.
for real.
That's contrary to what he was saying.
That's right. That's what we started with. All right.
That's right. That's right. That's breaking the third commandment. All right. Verse 40. For in my holy mountain, in the mountain of the height of Yasharel, thus said Yahuwah Elohim, there shall all the house of Yasharel, all of them in the land serve me. There will I accept them And there will I require your offerings and the first fruits of your oblations with all your holy things. I will accept you with your sweet savor when I bring you out from the people and gather you out of the countries wherein you have been scattered. And I will be sanctified in you before the heathen. And you shall know that I am Yahuwah when I shall bring you into the land of Yasharel, into the country for the which I lifted up my hand to give it to your fathers. And there shall you remember your ways and all your doings, wherein you have been defiled, and you shall loathe yourselves in your own sight for all your evils that you have committed. Brought to your attention. And you shall know that I am Yahuwah when I have wrought with you for my name's sake, not according to your wicked ways, nor according to your corrupt doings, O ye house of Israel, said Yahuwah Elohim. 45, for moreover, the word of Yahuwah came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face toward the south and drop thy words toward the south and prophesy against the forests of the south field. And said to the forests, say to the forests of the south, hear the word of Yahuwah. Thus said Yahuwah Elohim. Behold, I will kindle a fire in you, and it shall devour every green tree in you, and every dry tree. The flaming flame shall not be quenched, and all faces from the south to the north shall be burnt therein. I don't know why when I read this, I think about doctrines being destroyed.
You think about what?
Doctrines being destroyed.
You know what? Honestly, I have not given a whole lot of thought to this, but the image in my mind was Gehenna,
That's what I got.
That what you got?
The lake
the
of
lake
fire.
of fire.
Mm.
Because he said, I will kindle fire in thee, and it shall devour every green tree in thee, and every dry tree. Didn't
And
say
it shall
something else?
not be quenched.
Right, that's what I thought I read. Right, right. Uh-huh. That's what I got out of it. Did you finish it out?
And all flesh shall see that I, Yahuwah, have kindled it.
Oh, there it goes. That's it for me.
It shall not be
It's
quenched.
Gehenna.
Then said Yahuwah Elohim, they say of me, do he not speak parables?
Exactly. Because he say something raw and uncut, but we want to symbolize it. Make it symbolic. He don't mean exactly what he said. He means something else. That's Christianity.
Do he not speak?
Anyway, y'all, that is part 2 of the Sabbath. Hope somebody got something out of it. May Yahuwah add a blessing for the reading of his word. In Yeshua's name, hallelujah.
Cynthia Trett said snaps on your comment earlier.
That's so sweet.
I know, right? Shout out to Kazak and Akot Bronte watching from Maryland, Dover.